Xavier's POV. I was showing her around the palace, and the moment she saw the garden, she started squealing and ran towards them. I chuckled at her cute behavior. "Xavier, can I please have one? Please?" she asked with a cute puppy face which I could never say no. I nodded my head as she took a red rose, smelling it. "I see she did that puppy face to you too," Nathan said, coming towards us. "She always makes that face when she wants something. Good luck with that." Amelia smiled sheepishly as I chuckled. "She don't have to do that. She can get anything she wants. All she has to do is ask," I said, smiling. Amelia started blushing. "Whipped," Nathan said, making me glare at him as he put his hands in defense. It was good to be fooling around with him again. My little one brought back the light that she took along with her. She is the light to my darkness. I saw my mom and Amelia laughing and talking while planting. I smiled at that. She has given me everything I ever wanted, and I can never be more grateful. She came back running towards me as she bounced up and down in her heels. "Xavier, your mom said I could come over every day for gardening," she said excitedly. I groaned. Just then my mom came. "Mom, you can't steal her from me," I said, hugging her, not wanting to let her go. Amelia giggled at it. "No one is stealing your mate from you, son," my mom said, rolling her eyes. Just then the children came running towards Amelia. "Luna," the kids said excitedly. Amelia squatted down to their level, ruffled their hair. "Luna, we missed you so much," a girl said as the others nodded their head. She smiled at them and started tickling them. They brought Amelia and they started playing tag. I smiled seeing her play with the kids. She would be such a good mother to our pups. I smiled imagining us having our own pups one day. I just can't wait for us to have a family. Our pups running around the palace. I sat down there seeing her play with the children when the pups invited me to join them. I acted as if I lost as the children and her got excited when they won. Everyone started to get tired and we went back inside. "The children are so cute," she gushed as we made our way up to our floor. "I had so much fun with you. I cannot wait to have our own kids," she said excitedly, but she didn't realize what she said. And when she did, she stopped on her track. She started fidgeting in her place, biting her lips. "I am sorry, I didn't meant to say that. I stopped before she could continue. "Hey, it's okay. I would also like to have kids of our own day, but there is no rush," I said, reassuring her. She nodded her head, blushing. We made to each of our room to shower. Once I showered and changed, I came out to see her waiting for me. I grabbed her hand and brought her down. The maids had prepared dinner when we went down for our dinner. The moment she saw the food in the dining table, her stomach growled. She blushed in embarrassment. I chuckled at her reddened cheeks. "Little one is hungry, I see," I said, smiling, as she playfully hit my arm. I helped her sit down as the maids served our food. We thanked them and started to eat. We were happily talking and eating our food. She looked so happy. That is all I want for her to be happy, to be always smiling and laughing. I would do anything for that laugh. Even the maids were looking at us adoringly. Why did I push her away? Why did I stop myself from feeling this? Why didn't I let her in? I was such an idiot. I could have accepted her, and we would have had so much more right now. None of us had to go through so much pain. But I don't care of anything right now. She is here, and that is all that matters right now. Once we were done with our food, Amelia wanted to help the maids, but I said they could take care of it. We went to the library, where she used to spend most of her time. The moment she looked at the library, her eyes went wide. "It's so big. Why is everything so big in this palace?" she said as she looked through the books. "I wished I knew that, little one, but sadly this was built before me," I said, chuckling. She smiled sheepishly. "What's your age?" she asked me. I took a seat in one of the couches as she continued to examine the books. 24. Her eyes went wide again. "Wow, you are old," she said, scrunching her nose. "Am I now?" I said mischievously. I slowly stood up and walked towards her. She started to giggle as she started to run. I chased after her. I could easily catch her, but both my wolf and me loved a good chase. She went out of the library and ran out. "I will catch you, little one," I said, smirking. She turned and darted her tongue out and started running again. I followed her as she took a right turn. When I took the turn, I saw her standing with her back facing me. I ran to her and caught her. "Caught you," I said, hugging her. I saw her looking at somewhere. I looked to where she was looking. She was looking at the piano that was covered in cloth. It has been months since I played the piano. I couldn't bring myself to play. After losing her, I couldn't play again, knowing she wouldn't be listening to it. I hold her tighter, thinking about the time I lost her. "Do you play?" she asked me. I nodded my head as I smiled at her. "You used to sleep listening to it." She smiled at me widely. "Would you play it for me?" she asked with so much excitement. "Anything for you, little one. Come on," I said, bringing her with me. I took of the cloth from the piano and sat down in the seat, bringing her to seat beside me. I slowly started playing the music. It was slow and soft. You could barely hear it if you were out of this room. After a long time, I played a music that wasn't sad or upsetting. As I looked at Amelia, she was smiling at me. The smile just captivated me. It was so beautiful. She started to fiddle with her fingers. I smiled, knowing what she was thinking. I stopped playing. I grabbed her by the waist and made her sit in between my legs as she squealed in surprise. I hold her fingers and placed them in the piano keys, playing the notes. I helped her play the piano for some time before I started to play again. She rested her head in my chest. My wolf was howling in happiness. We both were so happy. I heard her soft snores, knowing she has fallen asleep. I stopped playing and carried her bridal style to her room. I softly placed her in her bed and brought the duvet on her as I sat down beside. I wanted to sleep next her. She chased my demons away. When she was with me, I didn't have nightmares. And I wanted that and needed that. I pulled a chair and sat in it, holding her hand. I let sleep take over me. Xavier's POV. It has been 1 week since Amelia returned. Everything is going well. She has taken up her role as the Luna Queen. The entire kingdom has known about the return their Luna Queen. Everyone is so happy. Noah, Amelia's friend, has found his mate too. She was from the neighboring the pack. Everyone is happy and nothing is going to destroy that. Amelia's memory has not returned, no matter how hard she tries. A part of me wants her to get back her memory so that she can cherish her happy memories. But the selfish part of me wishes she never gets them back. I am scared she would hate me after the way I treated her. And I love what we have now. Whatever happens, I am never letting her go. I will fall in her feet for her forgiveness. I don't think I can live without her love. We were now currently doing the pack paperwork. Paperwork is something I dread. No matter how much you do, they never stop piling. But with the help of Amelia, it has become easier. She is helping me as much as she can with the paperwork. At least to her understanding, which I am so grateful. "I think we're almost done," she said, examining the table. I looked around and she was right. Almost all the paper were done. Finally. We both quickly finished the last few. "Finally," I said, sighing. "They weren't that bad," Amelia said, making me glare at her playfully. "I am famished," I said, rubbing my tummy. "Come on, little one. Let's go and have dinner, shall we?" I said, extending my hand to her. She quickly grabbed my hand, and we both went to dinner. My mum, Nathan, and Angela were already there. They greeted us the moment they saw us. We chatted while we ate, laughing at jokes. We told them about our day and what we had been doing. And once we were done, we bid goodnight. I went to answer some phone calls that needed to be attended urgently. After I finished them, I went to search for Amelia and saw her in the third-floor balcony. I creeped from behind and hugged. She giggled when she noticed it was me. "What you thinking?" I asked her as she stared at the sky. "How lucky I am," she said. "For what?" I asked in confusion. "For you. I am so lucky to have you, she said. I stared at her astonished. It's me who is lucky. I am the lucky one to have you. I embraced her into a hug. I picked her up and twirled her around as she squealed in joy. You made me the happiest man alive, little one, I said, putting her down. Thank you so much, I whispered to her. I then realized how close our face, too close. I looked at her eyes before looking at her pink lips, then back to her eyes. I slowly start to lean in. One of my hand was in her neck, while the one was wrapped around her waist. To my surprise, she was leaning in too. The moment our lips touched, fireworks exploded as I closed my eyes at the sensation. It was something that I have never experienced. It was the best feeling till today. I continued to kiss her, not having enough. It was sweet, so sweet. Her lips were so soft. I was melting into the kiss. My arms wrapped tighter around her waist. Suddenly, I felt her struggling against me. I opened my eyes to see her tearing. I didn't understand. I quickly let go when she pulled herself away from me. She sat in the floor holding her head. I quickly crouched in front of her. What happened, little one? I asked her, worried. She keeps shaking her head. My head, it hurts, she said, crying. I got worried. What happened to her? Suddenly she let a gasp, followed by a scream, and collapsed to the floor. She wasn't unconscious, but she seemed weak. I picked her up by her shoulders. She held her head as she stood up. She turned to look at me. The moment she saw me, she screamed and pushed herself away from me. I looked at her confused and hurt. What happened, little one? I asked, slowly approaching her. She was against the railing. Don't go near me, she screamed. Her words hurt me. Why? What happened? I asked her again. You killed me, she whispered. I looked at her with wide eyes. I don't understand what she is saying. I don't understand. When the witches kidnapped me, you tried to kill me, she said, making me understand what is happening. Her memories came back. No, little one, that's not me. You gotta believe me. I begged her. She crouched down, hugging her knees. She looked at me with fear, towards me. I dreaded that. The same eyes that looked at me with so much love minutes ago was looking at me with fear. I have to make her understand that it was not me. I quickly went to her and held her. She started to scream and kick. Let me go. It was hurting me so much to see her like this. After a little while, she was getting exhausted as she soon passed out. I pulled her against me as I hugged her. Tears was beginning to slow. Why does this have to happen when she said that she loves me? I cradled her and carried her to her room, putting her in her bed. I quickly mind-linked my mom and Nathan. My mom, Nathan, and Angela came rushing in. What happened? Nathan asked, worried. She got back her memories, I said to them. That's great, my mom gushed. I scoffed. What happened, son? You don't look happy, my mom asked, worried. She think I tried to kill her, Mom, I said sadly. I can't believe this is actually happening. The three of them gasped. We will make her understand. Don't worry, Angela said, trying to convince me. What's the point? She thinks of me as a monster. No matter what you say, she will think of me as a monster. You should have seen the way she looked at me. It was like I was her worst nightmare. It tore me into pieces, I said as tears started rolling down. I didn't care I was crying. I was once again becoming the broken man. I walked away without letting them talk. I was walking away when I heard Angela calling me. Xavier, wait. I came to a halt. If you think even for a second that she thinks of you are a monster, you are delusional, she said, making me confused. Even when she was dying, she was defending you, saying you were not a monster. How could you think that she would think of you as such? She was right. But I was cut off by her. No buts. Look, you should have seen the way she loved you back then. It was like nothing I have ever seen. Her love for you was so pure. It was magical. Even when she knew her feelings weren't reciprocated. Please don't give up. Not now. Not after everything. You have been given a second chance with her. Don't ruin it. When she said this, I was speechless. She was right. It was my time to make things right. And I will. No matter what it takes. I love her. I won't give up. I thanked her as I started to think of ways to make things right. I am not giving up. Amelia's POV. I groaned as I woke up with an headache. I don't understand why I have such a headache. That's when I remembered from last night. Me getting back my memories. Xavier tried to kill me. His own mate. How could he do that? I am his mate. But the worst part, I still don't see him as a monster. The past week, the person who I know, he was a different person. The man I always wanted him to be. I don't know who is the real person. All of this just giving me a headache. I hear a knock and ask the person, "Come in." It was Angela. She came in giving me a small smile. I returned the smile back. "How are you feeling now?" she asked as she sat next to me. "Well, I feel like I've been ran over a bulldozer. And don't get me started on the headache," I said as she chuckled. She gave me some water as I gulped the water. "Why don't you take a shower and come? We'll talk later," she said as I nodded my head and went to take a shower. I have no idea what Angela is going to ask me. And am I able to answer them? I had so many thoughts. But I got rid of them and quickly showered and put on my white shorts, baby blue tank top, and gray hoodie. My hoodie smelled different. I shrugged it off and went to see Angela sitting in the same place as just now. She smiled once she saw me. She stood up as I walked towards her. "You ready to talk about everything?" she asked to make sure I was ready. I pondered on that thought. Am I ready? I don't know really, but I gotta do it sooner or later. The faster I get over it, the faster I can move on. I nodded my head at her. She smiled at me. "Let's go to Xavier's office. Everyone is waiting there." The moment she mentioned Xavier's name, I tensed. "Hey, it's going to be okay. I promise," she said, holding my hands. I just nodded my head. "Come on," she said, tugging me. I followed her like a lost puppy. As we stand outside his office, his scent hits me, making me tense. The very scent that used to bring me so much happiness scares me. With one last deep breath, I entered following Angela. As I entered, everyone's head turned to me, including his. "Amelia," he whispered, sending shivers down my spine, that I barely heard it. I looked at everyone, offering a smile, except him. I tried to avoid eye contact with him. Truth be told, I was scared. I don't know what am I supposed to expect, hate or love? So the best option I could come up with is to avoid him. My mom, dad, Nathan, Noah, Avery, and Jason was there, along with him. I slowly made way to them as my mom pulled me into a hug. "How are you, honeybee?" my mom asked, making everyone chuckle. "I'm fine, Mama," I said, giving everyone there an assuring smile. Except for him. "Why don't we all take a seat and then you can tell us what happened?" Nathan suggested as I nodded my head. We all took a seat in the couch, except for Xavier. He stood rooted to his spot. Everyone was looking at me, waiting for me to explain. But before I could tell, Nathan started to talk. "Before you can tell us what happened, let me tell you what we know," Nathan said, and I nodded my head. "It's better that way. After that day you were kidnapped, we received a link to a live video. When we clicked that, the witches showed you how bruised up you were. We immediately had people tracing you down. We saw everything, Amelia," Nathan said as he was almost on the verge of breaking. Angela helped to calm him. After taking a deep breath, he calmed down. "After the man hit you, you weren't breathing. We thought you died. When we finally came to the location, there were ashes. The witches claimed it was you, and we had no other choice than to believe," he said. I got confused. What man? I thought it was. I paused, hoping they would catch what I said. I saw Xavier's body tense from the corner of my eyes. It wasn't Xavier. They had a spell on you, making you see the man as Xavier, Nathan said, making my eyes go wide. "I don't understand. Why would they do that? What kind of sick-minded people do that?" I was still in shock. "I don't know what to say. I decided to tell what happened after that. The man didn't hit me. The witches cast a spell making me unconscious. When I woke up, I was beside a riverside with no memories of anything except for my name. I explained. They nodded their head. Wait, whose ashes were those then? Avery asked. I had the same question. We all started thinking whose ashes those were. It was the man's, Xavier spoke. All of us nodded our head, as what he said made sense. We stayed quiet after that, not knowing what to say. Well, we should get going. Take care of yourself, princess, my dad said as the both of them stood up. I nodded my head and hugged the both of them as they left. Slowly, everyone started to leave after bidding me farewell. Now, it was just Xavier and me in the room. My body was still cautious of him. I don't know why, but the image got stuck in my head. His face, the face that tried to kill me. I know it's not him, but I still can't get rid of that image. I was so deep in my thoughts, I didn't realize him taking cautious steps towards me. When I realized that, my body automatically stiffened. I don't think he realized that as he continued to take slow steps. Once he was nearer, he crouched next to me. Slowly he took my hands into his. I flinched without intending to. Hey, it's okay. I am not going to hurt you, he promised. I nodded my head and slowly retreated my hand back. I saw the hurt in his eyes when I did this, but I just couldn't take the image out of my head. I wished I could, but it just kept coming back. I am sorry. I just can't get the image out of my head, I said honestly. What do you mean? He asked confused. He still managed to look cute. I got rid of that thought. You killing me, I said slowly. His body stiffened when I said this. Before he could say, I spoke. I know it's not you, but that's the image in my head, I said. He nodded his head in understanding. There is nothing for you to be sorry about. It's not your fault. It was mine. It was all mine, he said abruptly, standing up. If I didn't behave the way I did, if I just accepted what I felt for you, if I didn't tell those words, you wouldn't have gone into the woods that day. You wouldn't be kidnapped. He ran his fingers through his head, frustrated. He came and sat next to me and took my hands. To tell you the truth, I had feelings for you, little one. His confession made my eyes wide, and I was scared of that. I built this wall around my heart, not wanting to let anyone in. But you were easily breaking those walls, without even realizing. And that scared me. After my dad and my mom left me, I thought eventually everyone will leave me. And I thought you would too, he said, looking at me sadly. I wanted to comfort him, but no words came out. I just stared at him. I know you won't forgive me, but I forgive you, I said abruptly. His mouth was wide opened. What? He asked unbelievingly. I forgive you long time ago for all of those. I was never angry at you to begin with, I said honestly. And I meant all of those. How? Why? He asked me, still staring at me, shocked. I just shrugged my shoulders. We became silent after that. I stood up to leave when he stopped me. I meant all those words, before you got your memories, every single word. Amelia's POV. I stood there shocked. I didn't know what to say. I just nodded my head and left. I went back to my room to gather my thoughts. What am I supposed to say to that? How am I to believe that those words were true? I feel like the one whole week was just some dream. A dream I wished I could stay in forever. I sighed as I went back down to see the children were waiting for me at the backyard along with Karen. I smiled at them as we started to plant flowers. I really liked spending time with Karen and the children. It took all stress and worry away. I don't have to think about Xavier or my time away. Soon we're done, and we went back inside. The children and I had our lunch together as they went back to their parents after that. Normally, I would be doing pack work along with Xavier. I was dwelling on that thought. Should I? As the Luna Queen, it's my responsibility to do my job. I shouldn't let my thoughts get in the way of my responsibility. I took one deep sigh and left to go to his office. I took slow steps while going to his office. The anxiousness eating me alive. Standing outside his office, I could already smell his scent, which only increased my heartbeat. I took in one last deep breath and was about to knock on his door, when suddenly the door opened and he was standing there. Little one, breathe out. I never understood that nickname. I stood there staring at the floor. Come in, he said, opening the door wider. I nodded my head and entered as he closed the door after me. I was wondering, do you need help with any of the paperwork? I asked immediately. I saw him thinking hard before nodding his head. I sat in front of the desk as he sat behind the desk. He passed me some of the paperwork. We quickly started on the paperwork. All the while, I felt him steal glances at me. I would fight the urge to look up at him. It was starting to become so difficult to avoid him. All I ever wanted was him to accept me, love me. But now that he does, every time I thought about being with him, everything just come flooding back. The way he treated me. The man who masked like him, trying to kill me. Even though I forgive him for everything, thinking about those times, the very last words he said before me being kidnapped. It just replays in my head, and no matter how much I try to forget them, I just can't. I wish I never got my memories back. I wish we stayed the way we were before I got my memories back. Thinking about all of this, I didn't realize it was already evening with the sun gone and we were done with the work. I sighed and put the work in order and stacked them up before giving it to him. He took them and placed them in his drawer. We looked at each other without saying anything. Not able to bear the silence, I gave him a nod, indicating I was leaving, before walking off when his voice stopped me. Please come back to me, little one, he said, making freeze on my spot. My heart was telling me to turn around and embrace him into a hug and tell him that I love him. But my mind, it was asking me to run and never turn back, to never come back. I slowly turn around as I face down, looking at the floor. I need time and space, I whispered nervously. Suddenly he stood right in front of me, taking my hands into his. I will give you as much time you want. I would wait for you, but please don't ask me to give you space, especially from me. I felt the desperation in his voice. I don't know what to say. I have never seen him this vulnerable. Not for me, not for anything. I just nodded my head. He was understanding and patient with me. It's only fair that I do the same. He held my chin, making me look up at him. Thank you, little one, he said, looking into my eyes. I just stared at his eyes, like the magnet pulling me towards him. Suddenly, an image of him yelling at me came into my mind, making me tear away from his gaze. I pulled my hands away from his and walked out. I tried to get the image away from my head. Just then my stomach growled, making walk towards the kitchen. All those paperwork making me hungry. When I entered to the dining area, I saw some of those guards working in the palace having their dinner too. I waved them a hello before getting my own plate and filling it with food. Looking at the food, my mouth drooled as I devoured the food. I heard someone clear their throat. I looked up and saw him standing. I looked around and saw that we were the only one there. Where did they go? He took a plate and put himself the food on his plate. He took a seat next to me, and I tensed but quickly relaxed myself. I continued to eat my food, as so did he. We sat there eating our food, in silence, not uttering any voice. Once I was done, I washed my plate, not wanting to stress the ladies over one plate. As I was about to go to my room, "Good night, little one," I heard him say. I muttered a good night to him and went to my room. I need to find a way to fight my horrors, my demons. Only then will I be able to get back to my normal life. And I would try, no matter what it takes. Amelia's POV. I felt like someone was tugging my duvet as I kept pulling back, covering myself. Back. I groaned as I give up and wake up, stretching my muscles. I opened my eyes and saw everyone surrounding me. I looked at them with confusion. I don't understanding what's going on. Did something happen? Happy birthday, Avery, Angela, Nathan, Noah, and Jason shout. My eyes widen in surprise. It's my birthday. I didn't even realize that. It has been almost 2 weeks since I got my memories back. With everything going on, I couldn't keep track of the date either. I stood up from my bed and went to hug the 5 of them. We were in group hug, laughing like maniacs. I couldn't contain my laughter. After I let go, my dad and mom came to wish me, followed by Karen. And lastly, Xavier came to wish me. Happy birthday, little one. I smiled softly and thanked him. Come on, get ready. We're going out for breakfast, Angela said, pushing me to the bathroom. I laughed and quickly took a shower. I came out and was finding for a dress when I saw a dress in my closet that I didn't know existed. It was a gray t-shirt dress. I quickly took it and wore. I pair it with a white shoe and white bracelet. Once I was done, I went down to see everyone waiting for me. Come on, hurry up, Avery said impatiently. I chuckled and walked towards them. You kids have fun, my dad said as I looked at him confused. Aren't you guys coming? I asked him. He sighed and shook his head. The 3 of us have work to do, princess, my dad said. I pouted but nodded my head. The 7 of us went to the garage. Wait, the 7 of us can't fit into the car. Xavier, can you and Amelia come in another car? Nathan said, getting into the car, making me glare at him. He avoided my glare. I heard Xavier clear his throat and I turned to him. Are you okay to come with me? He asked Lee. With no other choice, considering they already took the car and left, I nodded my head. He took a car key and pointed to a car. My eyes widened. It was a Porsche sports car. I was standing there and gaping at it. I didn't see him walking towards it. You comin'? He asked, chuckling. I blushed and nodded my head. We both got into his car. The car vroomed before he took off. I loved the sound of the car. We sat there in silence. We both had so much to say, but nothing seemed to come out when we're next to each other. I decided to on the radio to cut the silence. Heart Attack Enrique Iglesias played. I love that song. Without realizing, I started to hum the song. As the song finished, I felt someone looking at me. I turned to see Xavier gazing at me, and that he wasn't looking at the road. The road! I exclaimed as he looked back at the road. You've got a beautiful voice, little one, he said, amazed with his mouth wide. Thank you, I squeaked out. I heard him chuckle beside me as I blushed. Soon we came to a stop. I stepped out of the car, and immediately my mouth came wide. I couldn't believe it. How? I asked Xavier, who was standing beside me. Come on, let's go inside, he said, guiding me inside. I nodded my head and went with him. It was the same diner that my parents used to bring me to when I was young. After going to England, this was one of the things I missed, and after so long I was here. The outside looked the same as I last remembered it. As I entered inside, the smell that I remembered very well hit me, making me almost moan at it. As I look around, the place hasn't changed much except for the new technologies. I see the 5 of them standing around a booth. Once they saw us, they waved us off. I was glaring at Nathan for making me ride with Xavier. He just put his hand in surrender. I walked to them as we started to sit. I went to the inside corner as Xavier came next, making me freeze. Noah was beside him. In front of us was Nathan, Angela, Avery, and Jason. Soon a waitress came to take down our order. My eyes widened again. Mary? I asked. She looked at me confused. Yes? Who are you, dear? She asked me astonished. It's me, Amy, I said, as it's the name she used to call me. When she realized who I was, her lips turned into a grin. Is it really you, dear? She asked. I nodded at her. Look at you, all grown up, to be such a beautiful woman, she said, as I smiled at her. That she has, I heard Xavier whisper, making me blush. She looked almost the same as I remembered her, only with some wrinkles now. She is about 65 years old. She quickly took our orders. Guys, thank you so much for bringing me here. I miss this place so much, I said honestly. They smiled at me. Soon, Mary brought our food. My chocolate chick waffles with chocolate syrup, ice cream, and vanilla milkshake. After placing our food, she took out something from her pocket and handed me. My lollipop, I exclaimed. Whenever I came here, she'd give me one. I happily took it and thanked her. Everyone chuckled at me as I blushed. Xavier was just gazing at me, which only made my blush grow redder. We started to eat our breakfast. Even the food tasted the same. Without intending, a moan escaped my mouth as I felt Xavier stiffened beside me. I looked at him weirdly, but continued my food. So Noah, when is your mate coming back? Angela asked, making me look at him weirdly. The day after tomorrow, he said, still unaware of my look. When he realized that his eyes went wide. Oh shit, he cussed. I am so sorry, I forget to tell you, he said. I found her when you were away, he gulped. Then with everything I forget to tell, I am so sorry, he apologized. It's okay, Noah, I understand. I smiled at him assuring. We continued to eat. Once we finished, I bid my bye to Mary and promised to come back. Just like now, I got in with Xavier. But now it was a comfortable silence. Soon we reached back home. The 5 of them were waiting outside for us. As I went inside, the children came running to me. They wished me birthday wishes as they started pulling me outside to the backyard. Amelia's POV. As I was with the kids, Karen came over to me. Amelia dear, there's a party for you later. You have to get ready later, she said, making me pout. I don't want a party, please, I asked her. She chuckled. I am sorry, dear. It's your first birthday as the Luna Queen. It's customary, she explained. I just nodded my head. I continued to spend my time with the kids for hours that I never see the time. You still haven't get ready? Karen yelled, making me flinch. I stood there like a kid among the kids as she lectured me. After she was done scolding me, I nodded my head and quickly made way to my room. As I was about to enter my room, I heard someone cussing. It was coming from Xavier's room. The room was wide open, so I peeked inside. He was struggling with his tie while cussing. I let out a chuckle and entered inside. Do you need any help with that? I asked, making him turn towards me. His face was flushed, as if he was trying hard not to blush. He nodded his head as I stepped nearer him. I got his tie and put it around his neck. I started tying it. I felt his breath on me, and that's when I realized how close we were. I had to tip my toes to tie his tie as he was very tall compared to me. There were goosebumps forming wherever his breath touched, leaving a tingling sensation there. I quickly finished tying his tie and stepped back. There, I said, smiling. Thank you. Why haven't you get ready? He asked, confused. Well, you see, I was with kids and lost track of time, I said sheepishly. Then your mum saw that and started to scold me, and here I am, I said nervously. He chuckled. Well, better go and get ready, little one, before she comes and scolds you again. When he said this, my eyes went wide and I quickly dashed out his room to mine. I quickly took a shower and came out. That's when I saw a dress in my bed. It was from Karen. The dress looked stunning. It was black on the top and there was an X at the lower abdomen flowing down in white. There was slit cut from the thigh onwards. I quickly wore it and put some light makeup to look presentable, with my pair of white bangle and a silver chain. I grabbed my white sandals and slipped them on. Once I double-checked, I went out of the room. I was coming down when I felt many eyes staring at me, but one stare made out. It was Xavier's. He was looking at me like he was looking at me for the first time. He was openly gawking at me, making me uneasy. As I took the last step, he held out his arm for me to take, which I did. You look ravishing, little one, he said, making me blush as a shiver ran down my spine. Thank you, I said in a quiet voice. Please, don't go anywhere out of my sight. I don't want the males getting anywhere near you, he growled as I gasped. I nodded my head. My parents, Karen, Nathan, Angela, Noah, Jason, and Avery, were waiting for us. I smiled at them as I went to them and hugged each one of them. Xavier started to give a speech, making my heart melt at his words. It's like I meant so much to him. Once he was done, everyone encouraged me to blow the candle. Wait, before you blow the candle, make a wish. Angela stopped me. I closed my eyes to make a wish. I wish that one day Xavier and I would go past everything and be happy. I wished and opened my eyes. My eyes straight went to Xavier before I look at the cake and blow the candle. As soon I blew the candle, poppers were heard and people hooting. I smiled and cut the cake and feed it to my parents and Nathan. As I was about to feed Angela, she stopped me. Not me, Xavier first. My eyes widened as I turned to Xavier, who was already standing next to me. I slowly brought the cake to his lips. He took a bite of the cake and slightly biting my fingers, not hard enough to cause pain, but enough to send a shock down my body, and his tongue glazed my fingers. I look up to see him smirking, knowing the effect he was doing to me. He took the remaining cake in my hand and feed me as his thumb glazed over my bottom lip. I can't believe he just did that. I feed the rest of them. We took a seat in a table as we ate the cake, and soon were having dinner as the waiters served us. We were talking and laughing as I continued to feel Xavier's stare beside me as my blush became permanent. At times, I felt his leg brush against mine, making me squirm. There was something different about him today. I have never felt such an intensity from him. He was different today, and secretly, a part of me was happy. We continued to stay around as people gave me wishes and presents. I honestly didn't want any of these, but saying no would be rude, hence I accepted them. By the time everyone left was almost 1 a.m. All of us were tired, and we retired to our rooms, and thought of taking care of everything else tomorrow. I was going to go up when a yawn left my lips. "Someone looks tired," I heard his voice. I just gave him a lazy smile, to which he chuckled. Suddenly he carried my bride style. I squealed in surprise. "Put me down," I said, still squealing. Letting the birthday girl walk up the stairs, especially when she's tired? Nope. He continued to me carry up. I was too tired to argue and got comfortable. I could hear his heartbeat calming me down, like a lullaby. What I didn't realize was that my left leg was in full display due to the slit cut until cold air hit my leg. I blushed and covered it. I heard him growl as it rambled from his chest to my body, causing a shiver. But he don't seemed to mind it. Once we reached my room, he placed me down in my bed. I was too lazy to change or do anything for that matter. He got the message and put the duvet over me. I turned to the other side, getting comfortable. I felt the bed dip beside and realized he was seating down in my bed as my back faced him. I heard him sigh. Suddenly his fingers brushed my bare back as I shivered. "What are you doing to me, little one?" he asked more to himself. "When I saw you just now, all I wanted to was rip your dress and have you there and then," he said, as I tried my best not to open my eyes. "And when I saw every male looking at you, I want to gauge their eyes out. They were looking at what was mine. My little one," he said, growling. "I don't know how long I can be away from you, little one. Please accept me soon," he said, almost pleading. He stayed for a while longer before going. When I heard him close the door, I quickly got up and tried to even my breathing. I don't know how long I could be away from him either. Xavier's POV. I was walking back and forth, pulling on my hair as I got nervous by the second. I really wish everything goes as planned. I don't want to end up screwing anything. I have decided to ask Amelia out on a date. I was debating over whether it was a good idea or not, when I finally decided that it is in fact a good idea. Now I was just wondering, how am I to ask her? I tried to gather up all my guts and walked out of my office room. I spot my mom just then. "Hi, Mom. Did you happen to see Amelia?" I asked her nervously. She eyed me suspiciously, but still answered, "She is in her room." I nodded my head and left. I walked back up the stairs to her room. I knocked the door, but no one answered. I opened the door and went inside. As I stepped inside, her scent hit me, calming me down. I looked for her in the room, but she wasn't there. That's when I heard the bathroom door open. I looked towards her, and what I saw made my eyes pop out. She had her towel wrapped around her. She has yet to notice me. When she finally did, she let out a squeal. "What are you doing here?" she asked. I barely heard her. My eyes were busy roaming at her. She cleared her throat, gaining my attention. "Yeah, sorry, I wanted to ask you something, but I'll come back later," I said, about to go. As I walked past her, my heartbeat increased. I could smell her. She smelt absolutely sweet. Both my wolf and I couldn't control anymore. I ran to her and hugged her. I hugged her until she could barely breathe. I placed my face in her neck, inhaling her scent as much as I can to calm down. But it just did the opposite. I am barely able to calm myself down. I felt her squirming, trying to get away, but it just made my wolf want her more. He was in more control than me. I gave one kiss in her neck before pulling away. "I am sorry, I couldn't control," I said, scratching my neck. She stood there shocked. I took that as my cue to leave. Elle left, closing the door after me. After a few seconds, I heard her locking the door. I waited for a few minutes before she opened the door. Her cheeks were still flustered from just now. I seriously need to get better control over my wolf. "What is it you wanted to talk about?" she asked me hesitantly as she let me in. I turned to face her. I don't know how to ask her. What if she says no? What if she don't want anything to do with me? I got rid of all those thoughts and took in a deep breath. Here goes nothing. Will you go on a date with me?" I asked her, rubbing the back of my neck. She looked taken back when I asked her. She stood there still. "Give me one chance, little one." I asked her, pleading. She thought about it for a while. "All right," she said in a soft voice. I grinned as I embraced her into a soft hug. I let her go to look at her. "Get ready by 7 p.m. Wear something casual and comfortable." She nodded her head, with a blush still covering her cheeks. I let her go for her to get ready. It was already 6 p.m. "I'll meet you downstairs?" She nodded her head. I retreated back to my room with a smile on my face. I was really scared she would say no, but she said yes. I am gonna make her happy. I'm gonna win her back. Amelia's POV. I stood there still, even after he left. I can't believe that actually happened. He asked me on a date. I was literally squealing inside. But somewhere back in my head, I was afraid saying yes to him. I was scared he was going to hurt me. I threw that thought out of the window and decided to give it a shot. I looked at the time and it was already 6:17 p.m. Damn. I was spaced out for so long. I quickly went into my closet and tried to come up with an outfit. I was so confused on what to wear. Finally, I pulled out a gray crop top and black leggings. Perfect. I put on some mascara and lip gloss, and I was done. I put a blue washed cap and white sneakers. Once I checked that I was good, I saw the time and my eyes went wide. 6:55 p.m. I quickly went down. As I did, I saw him, walking back and forth with nervousness with his back facing me. I slowed down as I reached the last step. I cleared my throat, gaining his attention. He quickly turned to me. He stood there shocked for a while, before walking towards me. "You look beautiful, little one," he whispered, making me blush. "Thank you," I said to him. He was wearing a gray t-shirt and black jeans and black shoes. "Where are the two of you going?" I heard Nathan asking. I stood there shocked. What am I to say? "We, Nathan, are going on a date," he said, wrapping his hand around my waist. He eyed him suspiciously. "Fine, but bring her back in one piece, or I will castrate you," Nathan said, making me laugh as Xavier rolled his eyes. We both started to walk out. We were walking into the woods. "Where are we going?" I asked him questioningly. "It's a surprise," he said, smiling. I pouted. "Don't worry, you'll know soon," he said, grabbing my hands into his, intertwining them. Tingles shoot up my body. It was so good to hold his hands. I wish we were like this before any of those happen. We would have been so much happy right now. But it's okay. Not that we can't start now. Even though I have to fight the demons in my head, I will. We were walking and walking till he stopped. He went behind me and covered my eyes. Xavier, what are you doing? I asked, giggling. Shh, it's a surprise, he said as he tugged me to walk. After a few more steps, he finally stopped. We're here, little one, he said, taking his hands off. I opened my eyes slowly. The moment I did, I gasped. We were at a beautiful waterfall, and there was a small tent with a basket. It was a picnic. It was most breathtaking scene ever. Do you like it? If you don't like, we can go back. You don't like it, do you? He started to ramble on and on without stopping. Xavier, stop. It's perfect, I said, making him stop rambling. It's perfect, I said. He let out a breath he was holding and broke into a grin. You did all of this? I asked him, amazed. He nodded his head, rubbing the back of his head. It's so nice, Xavier, I said, walking towards the waterfall. I am happy you liked it, he said, smiling. Come on, let's eat, he said, bringing me inside the tent. The tent had 2 little fairy lights. He opened the basket and started taking the food and drinks out. He passed me grilled cheese, making my eyes wide. How did you know I like them? I asked, excited. He chuckled. I may or may not have asked Angela, he said sheepishly. We continued to eat and have small talks while enjoying the view. There weren't much words that were exchanged, but it was what we needed. Each other's company, with no words exchanged, just the serenity and our intake of breath. It's all we needed now. I love you, little one. Amelia's POV. I love you, little one. When he said this, my body tensed. This what I wanted to hear from him ever since I met him. And now that he said it, I don't know what I have to say. Xavier, I stuttered. Shh, little one. You don't have to say anything. Just listen to what I have to say first. He was sitting in his knees while cupping my face. I was such a fool to not accept my feelings. For you. In all honesty, I had feelings for you, little one. Since the moment I saw you, I was starting to develop feelings for you. But I was afraid. I had built this wall around my heart after my mom left. I thought everyone will leave me. But you started to break those walls. No matter how strong I build it, you were breaking them with just mere looks, and that scared me. I thought you will eventually leave me, but you didn't. No matter how much I pushed you, you stayed. You never left. You always find your back to me, little one. So please, little one, accept me. Be mine, all mine, he said, holding my hands tightly, almost begging. I just stayed there, silent. You loved me once, little one. Love me again, he said, his eyes glistening with tears. I didn't love you, Xavier, I said, with tears forming of my own. His face fell. I love you, I said, and honestly. I will always love him. I can't even imagine myself with another person than Xavier. He had a smile forming in his lips. But I was hurt, Xavier, and I'm scared to be hurt again. He face showed concern to what I say. Then let me heal you, little one, just like how you healed my stone heart. And I promise, with my heart, I will never hurt you. He said genuinely. Then yes, I would give you a chance, I said with a smile. He sat there shocked before engulfing me into a hug. Thank you so much, little one. I promise I will treat you like the queen you are. I laughed at the irony. I hugged him back with a smile on my face. We stayed like that for a while, before we pulled away. We were looking at each other, like how every mates stare at each other. He slowly started to lean in. So did I. The moment our lips collided, fireworks started to happen. I was smiling into the kiss. It was slow and passionate. After some time, we pulled away. We stayed there in each other's arm, gazing into the sky. Soon, it got dark, and we decided to head back. When we headed back, everyone were already asleep. We were retreating to our rooms. I said goodnight to him. He gave me a kiss in my cheek, and we retreated to our room. I was trying to calm my racing heart. I haven't never felt this contented in my life. I feel happy to be with him. We need to take things slow, but we will get there. I went to take a shower and put on my onesie and went to sleep. I was thinking about today and us. With a smile, I went to sleep. I was sleeping when I heard someone screaming and making me wide awake. Realizing it was Xavier's screams, I quickly jolted to his room. I saw him squirming and groaning as sweat covered his face. His eyebrows were scrunched. He was having a nightmare. Little one, no. Come back. He kept repeating the same thing again. I rushed to him and tried to wake him up. Xavier, wake up, I said while shaking him. After some time, he woke up and started to look around the room. When his eyes found mine, he quickly pulled me into a hug. You are okay, little one. You are alive, he said, breathing heavily. Hey, it's okay. I'm here, Xavier. I'm okay. Ye are okay, I whispered. I slowly lay him down and covered him with the duvet. I stroked his hair as I smiled at him softly. I stood up to leave, thinking he was asleep, when he stopped me. Stay with me, please. I heard his desperation. I contemplated and decided to stay. He scooted a little and made some space for me. I went and lay next to him. We cuddled into each other's arm and fell into each other's embrace. Xavier's POV. I felt something squirm against me. I groaned and hugged the pillow tighter. Wait, pillows don't squirm. I opened to my eyes to see my mate. She looked so cute and innocent while sleeping. Our bodies were tangled as I hugged her to my body, and she had her arms wrapped around me. I brushed my fingers against her cheeks. She let out a sigh and hugged me tighter. I hugged her tighter and put my face in her neck, inhaling her scent. She had stayed with me when I had asked her. I have never been this happy before. I wasn't really a morning person. But if I get to wake up like this every morning, I don't mind it. I could get used to this. After a few minutes, I felt her waking up. She slowly opened her eyes. First, she was wondering where was she, but after she saw me, her face turned red immediately. She started to blush. After she realized the position we were in, her blush only grew. Good morning, she said shyly. I let out a laugh. Good morning, little one, I said back, brushing my fingers against her reddened cheeks. She started to get up, but I pulled her back. No, stay, I whined, hugging her. She let out a laugh. We need to go, Xavier. We have work, she said, trying to get up. I whined but woke up. She went to her room to get ready, while I went to take a long shower, still in a daze about everything. I went to my office, remembering I had to call one of the alpha. After having the conversation, I went to kitchen to have breakfast, but the dining area was already served with breakfast. There were pancakes, sausages, eggs, bacon, and fruits. Amelia walked out holding waffles in her hand. That's when I realized it's she who did all of this. I walked to her sneakily and hugged her. She squealed, but then smiled when she realized it's me. I don't know what you wanted to have, so I did all of this, she said shyly. Little one, you didn't have to do all of this, I said, not understanding why she did when we had cooks. I wanted to make breakfast for you, she said shyly, her cheeks turning red. My lips broke into a grin. She wanted to do all of this for me. Thank you, little one, I said, kissing her temple. She mumbled a welcome. Come on, let's eat, I said, dragging her with me. I took everything she had prepared and put in my plate. When I took the first bite of the pancakes, I swear my tongue just melted. First of all, it was my favorite chocolate chip pancake. Secondly, it tasted amazing. I moaned at the taste. It's literally the best chocolate chip pancake. Little one, the pancake tastes amazing. It's my favorite, I said, taking few more bites. I know, she said, smiling. How do you know? I asked her in confusion, still eating the amazing pancakes. I had asked Angela once last time, she said shyly. She knew my favorite breakfast. It just melted my heart. She wanted to know about my favorites and dislikes when I treated her bad. I felt guilt wash over me. I shook away from those thoughts and only thought about now. So, what's the secret recipe? I asked her, raising my eyebrows. She giggled and shook her head. Not telling you, she said as she took a bite of the waffle. I shook my head in amusement. I smell food, Nathan said, walking into the dining area, along with Angela. When he saw the food, he immediately took a plate and started filling them. As he took the bite into the pancake, his eyes went wide. Damn, who did this? It's amazing, he said, eating like a pig. Babe, slow down, Angela said, laughing as she started to eat. She had a surprised look too as she turned to us with the same question. It's your sister. She cooked all of this, I said, eating my bacon. Since when did you cook, baby sister? Nathan asked, wide-eyed. Since when I was in London. You were unfortunate to eat them, Amelia said, as she ate her fruits. If I knew you could cook like this, I would have never allowed you go to London. Amelia, Angela, and I laughed. We continued to eat our food. I ate the most there. I had a surprise for Amelia, and couldn't wait to tell her. Amelia's POV. After our breakfast, Xavier suggested that we start with the pat paperwork, and I agreed. Surprisingly, we didn't have much paperwork, which I was glad. Stop staring at me, I said for the 55th time. You can't blame me. It's your fault for being so beautiful, he said with a grin. I blushed and shook my head. I continued the work, ignoring his stares, which was very difficult. He wouldn't stop staring no matter how many times I tell him. Finally, we were done with our job. I sighed, putting the pen down. Xavier laughed. He came and stood behind me and started massaging my shoulders. I blushed. You don't have to, I said, pushing his hands away. But he insisted and kept on massaging my shoulders. I want to. Come on, I have a surprise for you, Xavier whispered in my ear. I turned around excited. What is it? I asked, excited. He just chuckled. He grabbed my hand and started leading me outside. I followed him like a lost puppy. He brought us out of the palace and went inside the car. I looked at him confused. He started the car and we left. Xavier, where are we going? I asked, confused. I looked between him and the road. It's a surprise, little one, he said, chuckling. I gave him my best puppy face. No, you are not giving me that face. Please don't do that. I huffed and turned around, crossing my leg and pouting. He quickly leaned in and gave me a peck in my lips as I looked at him, surprised. Pout one more time and I'm pulling over the car, he said huskily. I quickly pulled my lips into a thin line and kept quiet. We rode for a few more hours before reaching a cabin. I looked at him, surprised. Surprise, he said, chuckling. What is this? We are going to be staying the weekend here, he said, casually getting out of the car. But I don't have any clothes, I said, exclaiming with wide eyes. He went to the back of the car, opening the trunk, and he took out 2 duffel bags. I looked at them, shocked. What? When? I asked, shocked. I had Angela pack them. Now stop asking questions and let's enjoy our weekend, he said, grabbing my hands. We walked into the cabin. As I entered, I looked at it with wow. It was small yet so cozy. It was entirely made of wood. Xavier, this place looks amazing. Whose is this? I didn't get any reply. Hence I turned around to see him looking at me. More like staring at me. Why are you looking at me like that? He just started to walk towards me. I backed away from him. I gasped, hitting the wall. He locked me in between his arms, placing his hands at the side against the wall. Xavier, what are you doing? I asked, blushing profusely. Let me appreciate the beauty of my mate for a while, he whispered. He continued staring at me. He started to brush his hands from my hands to my shoulder to my neck. Everywhere his skin touched, electricity just spiked. His hands finally landed on my cheeks, his thumb tracing my bottom lip. He stared at my lips, gulping. How is it possible for someone to be this beautiful? I smiled sheepishly, shrugging shoulder. He placed his forehead against mine and breathed hardly. You are going to be the death of me, little one. After a few seconds, he pulled away. Come on. Let me give you a tour around the cabin, he said, pulling my hands. This is the living room, he said, pointing to the living room. It was simple yet amazing. He showed the other places like kitchen, bathroom, entertainment room, and the bedroom. It was night, and we were already exhausted. I am hungry. Xavier whined. I chuckled. Why don't you freshen up? I'll make something. The moment he heard this, his eyes glinted like a small boy and made a beeline to the bathroom. I chuckled and went to kitchen and was looking around to see what to cook. I saw there were ingredients to make pasta. I decided to do pasta and took the spaghetti noodles. I boiled them and went to make the sauce. Soon the spaghetti was done, and I was doing the sauce. I was stirring the sauce when I felt Xavier's arms around my waist. I smiled at him. What are you making? He asked, sniffing at the food. Pasta, I said, smiling. Once I was done, I put the wooden spoon in mouth to taste it. Perfect. Xavier took the spoon and licked at the same place. Perfect, he said, making me blush. Go and sit down, I said, pushing him away. He chuckled and took a seat. I served the both of us food and took a seat. Xavier took his first bite and moaned at the taste. This tastes amazing, little one. How did you learn to cook anyway? He asked me, surprised. I chuckled at the memory. Back in London, I stayed with my friends. So there was this Italian guy, Gabe. He taught me to cook since I had zero knowledge about cooking. I laughed, knowing how he would reprimand me. I looked at Xavier's plate, which was empty. But when I looked at Xavier, I frowned. He seemed rigid and tense. Xavier, what happened? I asked him, worried. In a flash, he had me straddling him. Me in between him and the table. He was gripping onto my waist, a bit tight to my comfort. Xavier, what happened? I asked again. I was confused by his aura. You lived with other males? In the same house? He asked with heavy breathing. I don't understand. I nodded my head in confusion. He quickly put his lips on top of mine. He started kissing me harshly. I was shocked. It wasn't like the others. This was fierce, harsh. After some time, he pulled away. You are mine. Mine, my little one, he said, looking into my eyes. His eyes, they were different, fierce. He started kiss my neck harshly, leaving hickey. I tried to pull away from him. I didn't like seeing him like this. It was scary. He was placing fiery kisses in my neck. It was painful. I let out a whimper at one point. That seemed to bring him into his sense. He pulled away and was looking at me with shock. My eyes was glistening with tears. Little one, I didn't let him continue. I pushed him and ran to the bedroom and locked the door. I heard him knock the door. Little one, I'm sorry. Please let me in, he pleaded, but I just sat there. He kept apologizing and asked me to open the door. Few attempts later, he stopped. I was sitting down, sobbing. After an hour, I decided to open the door. The moment I opened the door, Xavier stood up from the floor. I stepped out while facing the floor. He quickly pulled me in for a hug. I am so sorry, little one. I didn't mean to. He continued to apologize. I just stood there not knowing what to do. Why did you do it? I asked him out of nowhere. He sighed, sitting down in the floor. Because, when you mentioned of living with a boy, I got possessive. He said, sighing again. Honestly, I am scared, he said, running his hands in his face. I sat down next to him. Of what? I asked questioningly. That you will leave me, he said, looking at me. Why didn't you leave me? He asked, making me shocked. What do you mean? After everything I did, you stayed. You could have left me and be with any other guy. But you went through all of that. He explained. I smiled softly. Love you, Xavier. So much, I said honestly. He looked at me with shock. No one, and I mean no one, loved me the way you do, he said, making me tear. Please, don't ever leave me. Ever, he asked desperately. I promised you, Xavier, I will never leave you. Not even if you ask me to, I promised him. I am never letting you go, he said, smiling at me. I am sorry also, I said, facing down. Why? He asked, shocked. I sighed. for not being able to be comfortable with you. I promise I'll try, I said, being honest. Little one, we can take all the time. Don't ever worry about that, okay? He smiled at me. I nodded my head. We went back to our room and went straight for bed. We were both too tired. I was happy to be in the arms of my mate. Amelia's POV. I woke earlier to do breakfast for the both of us. I was doing pancakes, bacon, and eggs. As I was setting up the table, I heard him coming. I look up to see him frowning. "Good morning," I chirped. "Bad morning," he said with his sleepy, husky voice. "Why?" I asked, confused. He sighed and shook his head while nuzzling his face in my neck. "You weren't there when I woke up," he said, hugging me tighter, his warmth engulfing me. "Sorry. I wanted to make breakfast before you woke up." "You don't have to do any of this," he said. "Well, I wanted to," I said, smiling. "Not that I complain. I love your food," he said, getting to the table, like a kid. I laughed and served the both of us breakfast. We started to eat our food, while talking and laughing at random things. I was literally crying due to his jokes. "Oh my goddess, I can't believe you and Nathan did that," I said, laughing hysterically. "How come you never told me any of this?" He just shrugged his shoulder. Once we finished eating, Xavier insisted that he washes the plates. I said I can do it, but he wouldn't let it. "Hey, you never answered my question," I asked, waiting for him to wash the dish. "What is it, little one?" he asked. "Whose cabin is this?" I asked him, looking around. "It's my parents. They used to come here, in the weekends," he said, turning around. His form was rigid and tense. I guess he is remembering his father. I walked to him and hugged him. He sighed and hugged me back. "What was he like?" I asked him, still hugging him. He pulled away and smiled as if he was remembering happy times. He led me to the couch and we sat down. "He was the best dad," he said, still smiling. "He loved both my mom and me so much. He used to train me. He always saw me as a strong warrior. We even used to go to the zoo when I was younger. I would sit in his shoulder as he brought me around." He was glistening with tears. "I miss him so much, little one. And then when Mom left me also, I was alone. I never want to be alone again." He hugged me. He wasn't crying or sobbing. He was just scared. And I would be too if I were to be in his shoes. I took his face into my hands. "I promise you'll never be alone again. Ever." I promised him. He just smiled at me. He trusted me that I will never leave, and I never would either. We ended up watching movies the entire afternoon. Soon evening came around. "Hey, you want to go for a walk?" I asked him. He kissed my forehead. "Sure." We wore our shoes and went out. Xavier seemed to know his way around. We just walked around without saying anything, just enjoying the silence. We stopped near a pond and sat down there. "Thank you for this. I had fun today," I said, leaning my head in his shoulder. "Anything for my little one," he said, kissing my forehead. I had my eyes closed when I felt on me. I opened my eyes, shocked. Xavier was standing inside the pond with a smirk. I looked at him with my eyes and mouth open. He did not. I quickly went inside the pond and started splashing water at him. We both splashing water onto each other while laughing at each other. Suddenly, the both of us fell into the pond. We stood and stared at each other before burst out laughing. It was starting to get cold, so we headed back home. We were freezing by the time we headed back home. Xavier quickly put wood and fire. After changing our clothes, we went to the fireplace to get ourselves warm. I was getting myself warm when I felt his stare at me. "What?" I asked him, blushing. He quickly grabbed my face and kissed me. It was soft and passionate. He started trailing kiss down my neck. He stopped right above the mark. I could feel his breath lingering over my mark. He slowly peppered kisses in my mark. "I love you so much, little one," he mumbled. "I love you too," I mumbled back. I know he was holding himself. He was definitely restraining himself. I heard him growling. He took in a few deep breaths. Once he calmed down, he looked at me and smiled. "Want to head to bed?" he asked with a smile. I slowly nodded my head. We went back to our room and lay in each other's arms. I was thinking about just now. I have no idea why am I holding myself from him. I love him. I will always love him. I was just scared. I have never been this intimate with anyone before. Going with him to the next level was something I was so shy about. But it doesn't matter, I guess. He's my mate. The man I am going to spend the rest of my life. I turn around to see him still awake with his eyes closed. "Xavier?" I whispered. He opened his eyes, facing me. "What is it, little one?" he asked, turning around. My face started to blush, knowing what I was about to ask. "I love you," I said, hoping he'd get the hint. "I know. I love you too," he said, oblivious to what I say. "I mean, like, I love you, I love you. Like, I said, getting frustrated. He scrunched his face in confusion. Finally, when he understood, his eyes went like saucers. "Oh," was all he said. I nodded my head to his unasked question. Suddenly, he was hovering above me. I squealed in surprise. "Don't play games with me, little one," he said with a husky voice. His eyes has turned dark. "I'm not. I love you, Xavier. I am ready for you. Always have been," I said, holding his face. He wasted no time and started to kiss me. Amelia's POV. I woke up to the sun shining at my face. I snuggled into my warm pillow. My pillow started to grunt, and I felt my pillow hug me back. Wait, pillows don't hug back. I opened my eyes to come to face with a chest. I looked up and saw my mate sleeping peacefully. I kept staring at his face, studying every inch of his face. I remembered everything from yesterday and started to blush. "You know it's rude to stare, little one," he said, suddenly startling me. My blush grew, making me snuggle into his chest to hide my face. Don't blush like that. I won't be able to control myself," he said, grunting as I hit his chest in embarrassment. He started to laugh. "What's the time?" I asked him. He looked at the time. "It's a little over 1 p.m., he said, making my eyes wide. "What?" I exclaimed. I woke up suddenly, only to regret. "Hey, slow down," he said with concern. I nodded my head. "We should leave. It's going to take hours to go back home." I was scrambling around. When I turned to look at him, he was just smiling at me. "What?" I asked him, confused. "Nothing," he said with a smile. I was packing our stuffs when I felt him hug me from behind. "Can't we stay for some more days?" he asked like a child. I sighed. "We have pack work," I said, turning to him. He sighed. We started packing our stuffs. After loading them into the car, we took off to the pack house. We were talking and laughing as we head back home. We even had sing-along. It was difficult to make Xavier sing, but somehow I managed to sing. And he had such a wonderful voice. He thought he had a rough and masculine voice, but still it was lovely. I was admiring him singing till we reached back to the palace. I squealed and got out. I had missed this place. Xavier laughed and carried our stuff. As soon we reached inside, Kendra squealed and hugged me. I looked at her confused. "You guys finished the mating process. I knew the cabin was a good idea. Now I can have my grandchildren," she said, letting go. I blushed at what she said. My scent would have changed to a mixture of both mine and Xavier's. "Mum," Xavier groaned as I laughed at his face. It was starting to get red. "What?" Kendra asked innocently. Xavier rolled his eyes as he took my hand, started to lead us upstairs. We were both blushing and decided the quietness was better. Once we reached the top floor, Xavier turned to me nervously. "So," he started. I looked at him questioningly. "What is it?" "Well, I was wondering if you would like to move into our room," he asked nervously. I laughed. "Yes," I said, laughing. He let out a sigh of relief. "Good, because your things have been moved to our room," he said, taking my hand and leading me inside. "What if I said no?" He just shrugged. I laughed at him. The room looked different from the last time I was here. It was painted in gray, and also the bedsheet was in gray. "Why is the room in gray? The last time I was here, it was black," I asked questioningly. He smiled sheepishly at me. I raised my eyebrows in questioning. Well, I had people to repaint this room to your favorite color, gray, he said simply. I looked at him wide-eyed. You didn't have to. I wanted to, little one, he said, hugging and kissed the crown of my head. I smiled and hugged him back. Thank you, I said, genuinely. Anything for my little one, he said. His eyes were twinkling in happiness. I don't think I've ever seen him this happy. He was happy, and that made me happy. You look happy, I said as we sat down in the bed. Why wouldn't I be? My mate, my love, is in my arms. What else would I need? I smiled at him. I don't think I've ever been this happy either. We stayed in each other's arms for a while, feeling content, and I finally pulled away. He frowned when I got up. I need to take a shower, I said as I went towards the washroom. May I join? He asked mischievously. No, you may not, I said as I closed the bathroom door. I heard him grunt as I laughed. I quickly showered and stepped out when I realized I didn't bring clothes. I face-palmed. I groaned and tied the towel around myself and went out. The moment he heard me coming out, he turned his head towards me. Little one, you are really making it difficult for me to control myself, he said huskily. I blushed and quickly went inside the closet. I heard him grunt and heard the bathroom door shut. As I looked at the closet, one side of it were my clothes and other stuff, while the other side was his, with his clothes and stuff. I grabbed a random outfit and wore it. I put my hair in a bun and was about to go out when I saw something in his side of the closet. I grabbed it. It turned out to be my gray hoodie. I scrunched my eyebrows in confusion. What was this doing here? I heard the closet door open and saw him in his sweats. I blushed as I saw his chest, but when I looked at his face, he was looking at my hoodie with wide eyes. That's when I asked him the question. What is my hoodie doing here? I asked him questioningly. He let a nervous laugh as he scratched the back of his neck. I found it so cute when he does that. Well, you see, when you were gone, I needed something, like your scent, to keep me sane. So I took your hoodie with me, everywhere I go. I looked at him wide-eyed. You can take it back if you want, he said, walking towards me. I smiled. It's okay, you can have it, I said, smiling. Without even realizing, my hands went to his chest. I froze when I realized that. I was about to pull away when he stopped. Let them be, he said huskily. I nodded my head and started to draw random patterns. I felt him shiver under my touch. He was gazing at me. You make me go insane with your mere touch, little one, he said huskily. My arms circled around his torso as I hugged him, to which he returned. I love you, little one, he said as he sniffed at me. I love you too, Xavier, so much, I said honestly. We stayed there till we pull away. You need to wear a shirt, I said to him, pushing him. Or I could stay like that, he said, laughing. Well, only if you want the other she-wolves to see you like this. He quickly put on a random shirt. I laughed at his face. He hated when the other she-wolves stared at him. Even I did, but I can't blame them. It's only 4 p.m. You want to go somewhere? He asked as we exited the closet. I thought about it. Ice cream, I squealed. I missed getting ice cream from the mall. He chuckled and nodded his head. I smiled in glee. We decided to walk to the mall as it was walking distance. Upon reaching the mall, I ran to my favorite ice cream stall, Xavier following pursuit. Suddenly, his phone rang and he stopped. Little one, why don't you go and choose first? I will come in a while, he said as I nodded my head. I opened door and went inside. There weren't many people inside as it was evening already. As I stepped in front of the different flavors of ice cream, the smell hit me, making me excited. I went to the glass that held the ice cream and looked at them greedily. Butterscotch? I heard someone's voice. It was Nicholas. I smiled as I squealed. Nicholas, how are you? I asked him excitedly. It had been quite long since I saw him. I am fine. What about you? I heard about everything. I am better, thank you. Now get me my ice cream, I said urgently. He laughed and got my ice cream. While he was getting the ice cream, we were laughing at a joke he said. Suddenly, I felt 2 arms come around me. I turned and saw Xavier with a frown. Seeing Xavier, Nicholas quickly bowed his head and greeted him. My king. Xavier nodded at him with a frown. Xavier, meet Nicholas, he's my friend, I said excitedly. Your friend? He asked questioningly. I nodded my head. Here you go, butterscotch, he said, handing me my ice cream. Xavier, what about you? I asked him. He shook his. After Xavier paid for the ice cream, we decided to leave. Bye, Nicholas, I said, waving my hands at him. He waved his hand back at me. We exited the mall, walking slowly back home. I then realized that Xavier was silent. I wonder what he was thinking about. Amelia's POV. 3 weeks later. It has been 3 weeks since the cabin. Xavier and I have never been happier. We were so good. The pack has also been good. We hadn't received much problems these days. My thought went back to time when we were walking back home after the ice cream. What's been bothering you? I asked him. He shook his head, but I gave him the stern stare to tell me. He took in a deep breath. I am just scared, he said, looking down. About what, Xavier? I asked, confused. That you would leave me, that I'm not good enough for you. I took his face into my palm. Never. I would never leave you. I love you, Xavier, even before you did. You are more than enough for me. Can't you see it? I didn't leave when you pushed. Now that I have you, I am never letting you go. I said honestly. He looked at me with adoration. What did I do to deserve you, little one? He whispered more to himself. I shrugged my shoulder. To ease the tension, I put the ice cream cone to his lips again. He chuckled and took a lick of it. After that conversation, Xavier and me did not talk about it again. I sighed, thinking about it. Suddenly, I got up and ran to the washroom and started vomiting. I have been feeling sick for some time already. I at first dismissed it off, but now I was just sick of vomiting. I decided to see the pack doctor and booked an appointment. I could have asked Xavier to bring me, but I decided not to tell him about me being sick as I didn't want him worried. He has become too protective over me now, and the last thing I want is him staying here and be worried about me. I washed my mouth and brushed my teeth. I got ready for my appointment. I walked to the pack house where the pack doctor is. As soon as I went in, the doc smiled at me. I returned back the smile. Take a seat, Queen Luna, she said as I sat down. She put down her pen and glasses. So what seemed to be wrong, she asked me. I have been vomiting for some time now. I also get easily dizzy, I explained to her. How long has it been since your last menstrual cycle? My eyes widened. Almost 1.5 months. This never happens. I never skipped. 1.5 months. She nodded her head. She looked as if she knew something. But I don't understand. She took some of my blood and ran it. She also gave me what seemed to look like a box. I need to confirm my theory. Just follow what's in the box. And any doubt, ask me. I looked at the box and my eyes widened. It was a pregnancy test. It can't be right. I nodded my head and did as the box told. I came out with the stick and passed it to her. After about 5 minutes, both the blood result and pregnancy result came out. I waited for her to talk nervously. She smiled and looked at me. Congrats, Luna Queen. You're going to be a mother. You are about 3 weeks long now, she said with a full-blown smile. I can't stop the smile and tears in face. I'm going to be a mother. There's a baby in me. I can't believe it. I was so happy, more than happy. I don't think I can ever be this happy. Would you like to have a checkup? Do an ultrasound? She asked me, fixing her specs. I nodded my head in excitement. She chuckled and lay me in the bed thingy. This is going to be cold, she warned me. Before I could process, the cold gel was placed. I took in a deep breath. She put the probe stick and started going around my stomach. You see there? That's the baby. It's just a small dot, she said, pointing at the screen. There it was, a small dot. My eyes glistening in tears. I can't wait to have him or her in my arms. The baby looks healthy. Would you like a snap of it? She asked me as I nodded my head. She helped me up, and we went back to the room. She gave me a small photo. I smiled looking at it. Just then, a thought came to my mind. Doc, will the baby be a werewolf, like Xavier? Or human like me? I asked hesitantly. She sighed. I am not sure. Since it's your first baby, I can't tell for sure. It's a 50-50 chance. I gulped. I nodded my head and slowly left. I don't know what to think. I don't care if the baby is werewolf or human. I will love it still. I already love him or her. But Xavier, on the other hand, I can't say that for sure. He hated the fact I was human when we met. If he comes to know that the baby might be a human, he might flip. Tears started to dwell in my eyes. I don't know how to tell him, or to tell him. I'm just going to wait and decide. I went to our room and hid the picture after taking another glance. I lay in the bed, rubbing my tummy. I can't believe this is happening. A smile crept into my lips, thinking about the little, living thing in my tummy. Soon the sleep overtook me, and I fell asleep. I felt someone stroking my cheeks as my eyelids opened slowly. It was Xavier. Hey, little one, did I wake you up? He asked me. I shook my head and sat up. When did you come back? I asked as I yawned. He chuckled. Just now, he said. I nodded my head. Why don't you freshen up? I'll make you something to eat, I said, smiling. His eyes widened in joy. He nodded his head and quickly went to shower. I smiled as my hands automatically went to my tummy. I smiled as I looked down at it. But soon, my smile dropped. I don't even know how am I going to tell him. I sighed as I made my way out and to the kitchen. There wasn't anyone there. I started to do cheese macaroni, knowing he'll like it. Within minutes he was down and I was done. I served the both of us as he took a seat. I went to take a seat, but he pulled me to his lap. I pouted, but he kissed my lips, making me giggle. We started to eat. I love it, little one, he said, making me smile. But it didn't reach my eyes. I felt bad for not telling him. But I was just scared that he might get angry if I said the baby might be human, or worse, reject. The thought didn't settle with me, and suddenly I felt like vomiting. I quickly stood up and went to the nearest bathroom and vomit my guts out. Xavier was standing right behind me, holding my hair and rubbing my back. Once I emptied everything out, I stood up and washed my mouth and brushed my teeth. I leaned my back against the sink as Xavier stood in front of me. He cupped my face, looking concerned. Are you okay, little one? He asked with concern. I nodded my head, not looking into his eyes. He lifted my face to look at him. You sure? Do you want me to call the pack doc? He asked me. I tensed and immediately shook my head. He looked at me slightly suspicious. I sighed. I saw her already. I paused. She told me it was a flu. That's all. I gritted my teeth. I didn't like lying to him. But for now, I have to. I need to find the courage to tell him. He nodded his head. We went back to our room as Xavier told one of the maids to clean the plates. I went straight to bed, and soon Xavier joined me. I snuggled into his arms. I felt the need of his warmth more than ever now. Must be the pregnancy. I love you, little one, he said. I love you too, so much, I said, almost tearing up. I fall asleep before I could let myself tear up for lying to him. Amelia's POV. I sighed as I plopped down in the couch with a book in hand. As I start to read, my mind wandered off to everything. It has been almost 2 weeks since I found out I am pregnant, and I have not told Xavier anything about it. I had dwelled on telling Angela, but I didn't want to burden her from hiding something from her alpha king. He knows something is wrong, but has not pressured me in telling him anything. I seriously have no idea how to tell him or how he would react, which had me in a twist. I sighed and started to read, knowing it would calm my nerves down. I heard the library door open and someone's head popped in. It was Xavier. And how did I know you'd be here? He said with a fake thinking face. I chuckled, but soon my smile faded and I tried to fake a smile. He walked towards me, smiling softly. He could easily spot the fake smile. Hey, he said softly, cupping my chin. I gave him a tight smile. I'll take a shower and we both can hang out here, all right? He asked. I nodded my head and returned to my reading. As he was away, I started to think. I should tell him. I can't keep it away from him. I can't hide it any longer. Either way, he will come to know, considering I will start showing. I am telling him today. I closed the book and waited for him. Minutes felt like hours, when finally the door opened slowly. My head quickly snapped to the door as a frown made its way in face. Xavier looked tensed and rigid. His aura was scary, and I stared at him confused. When I looked at his eyes held anger, disappointment, and sadness. "Xavier, what happened?" I asked him, rushing to him. Before I could touch him, he stepped away. I was shocked as I saw him bewildered. He slowly took something out of his pockets. When I saw what it was, my eyes went wide. It was the ultrasound picture. How did he find it? I looked at him with wide eyes. "Xavier, I can explain," I said, trying to reach out to him. But he just stepped back. Tears start to run free. "Why?" is the only thing he asked me. I just stood there not knowing what to say. He looked shattered. "Why didn't you tell me? Were you ever going to tell me?" "Yes," I said immediately. "You have known for almost 2 weeks, but you didn't tell me. Why?" he exclaimed. I jumped at his outburst. "Please let me explain," I cried. Before I could say anything, he just walked off. I looked at his retreating back. I fall to the ground crying. I was sitting beside the fireplace. The fire burnt my skin, but I couldn't be bothered. The burn in my heart was even more painful. I should have just told him. I was a coward. Why didn't I tell him? Thoughts just ran wild as I cried and cried for hours. I cried till I ran out of tears. I just sat there, feeling numb. I clutched my legs nearer to chest, and as I let my head fall on my knees, I was staring at the fire when I heard the door open. I knew it was him, but I didn't look up this time. I didn't have courage to look into his eyes. Tears gathered up again in my eyes. He fell down on his knees. We both stayed silent, not knowing what to say. I gathered up courage and decided to speak first. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you," I said as tears started to flow again. He took in a deep sigh. Explain why didn't you tell me?" I took in a deep breath. "I was scared," I said honestly. "I was scared that you would reject the baby," I said sobbing. "Why on earth would I do that?" he exclaimed. "Because there is 50% chance that the baby might be human," I said. He went silent after that. "I thought you might reject the baby, especially when you hated me for being human once. Please, don't reject the baby. Please," I begged, still not looking up at him. I felt him suddenly hug me. He was holding me tight as I cried on his chest. "How could you ever think I would do such thing? It's our baby, my baby," he said, pulling away. "I don't care if he or she is human. The baby will still be my baby." I felt him tear up. I felt so stupid for thinking he might reject the baby. "I'm so sorry. I just didn't know why. I just felt overprotective over the baby and was scared that you might reject the baby." He sighed. "Little one, do you have any idea how badly I wanted to start a family with you? From the moment I saw you. Fuck the fact the baby is human," he said, making the both us chuckle. "Promise me you'll never ever hide anything from me," he said as our forehead collided. I nodded my head. "I promise across my heart. I have not to tell anyone about this. I wanted you to hear it first. So listen," I said, grabbing his face. "Xavier, we are pregnant. You're going to be parents. You are going to be a father." A smile crept up to his lips. "I'm going to be a father," he whispered to himself. I nodded my head and chuckled. He quickly lifted my shirt and put his hand there. "Hey, baby," he said in baby voice as I laughed. "I can't wait to see you," he said to my tummy. I admired the moment with adoration. He looked back at me. "I am so eager to hold her in my arms," he said. "Her?" I smirked. "Yes, I want a girl like you," he said as he smiled. "Nope, I want a boy like you." I said. We'll see, little one, he said with a smirk. I chuckled as I shook my head. He stood up and carried me in bridal style. Now why don't we celebrate this in our room, he said, smirking. I hit his arm. I have no idea where he gets his stamina. He laughed at my embarrassed face. Whoa, I am the most happiest person right now, and I don't think anything will change that. No matter what the future hold, we can tackle it easily. Amelia's POV. Everything has just been perfect. Well, apart from the fact that Xavier have been way too overprotective over me ever since I told him I am pregnant. Also, did I tell he has been also too clingy? He would not let go off me even for a second. I sighed thinking about it. We had told the entire kingdom about it, not before telling our family and friends about it. They were so ecstatic about it. Everyone was so happy. I sighed again. Xavier. I whined. He looked up from his pile of work. Yes, little one, he asked amused. He knew what I wanted. Nope, you are not getting out of my sight, he said as he went back to his work. I huffed and snuggled closer in his lap. But I want ice cream, I pouted, craving for ice cream. Have I told you that I am 3 months pregnant now? Also, the baby is a werewolf considering the baby is growing in werewolf speed. 2 more months. Xavier and I decided to keep the gender a secret. I heard him sigh. Come on, let's get you ice cream, shall we? He said, carrying me. I can walk, you know, I said. I know, he said, still carrying me. I sighed, knowing it's pointless to argue with him, and became comfortable. We went to the kitchen and he put me down. I went to fridge and opened it. I glee at the sight. Xavier have literally got all the flavors. I had asked him to get me ice cream at random time, hence he ended up getting every flavors. I heard him laugh. I took my favorite butterscotch ice cream. He hugged me from behind. And how did I know you were going to take that? He asked, amused. I stick my tongue at him. As I was eating ice cream, I heard Avery's voice. Hey, Bubbly, she called. I squealed and sat down my ice cream and ran to her and hugged her. I heard someone growl behind me. How many times do I have to tell you not to run, little one? He said, reprimanding me. I smiled sheepishly at him. He just shook his head and pulled me back into his arms. Just then, Jason came and so did Noah and his mate. I gave each of them a hug. How is the baby? Avery asked, rubbing my tummy. I grinned, rubbing my tummy. The baby is fine, I said to her. I can't wait for the baby. We all have placed bets on the baby's gender. Noah said as the rest of them nodded their head. You guys bet on my child? Xavier exclaimed. The 4 of them looked at him sheepishly. Xavier let out a deep sigh and shook his head. Unbelievable, he muttered. I saw Nathan and Angela coming towards us. Did I tell you that Angela is pregnant too? Yeah, she is. She's 3 months away from giving birth. I am so happy right now. This is just perfect. All of us are happy. That is all I ever wanted. I turned to see Xavier smiling down at me. What are you smiling at? I asked him questioningly. Nothing. Just looking at how pretty you are, he said, making me blush. Xavier, how do you handle Amelia mood swings? Angela mood swings are killing me, Nathan said, exhausted. All of us laughed at him. Actually, Amelia doesn't have mood swings, only the cravings for ice creams and weird food combinations, he said, scrunching, probably thinking about the weird food combinations. I wouldn't blame him. At normal timings, I would never eat this kind of food, but now I have been having weird cravings. You are a lucky asshole, Nathan said, rolling his eyes. Angela smacked his head. I could already see a mood swing. Oh, this is good. So my mood swings are killing and you feel unlucky now, Angela said with a glare. Nathan had a horrified face. Shit, he muttered. We just stood there gaping at the scene. No, sweetheart, that's not what I meant. Before he can continued, Angela walked away. Nathan groaned as he walked behind her like a lost puppy. Once they left, the whole lot of us burst out laughing. That was hilarious, Jason said, as we agreed. We hang out for a while, till the 4 of them decided to leave. We bid our farewells to them. It was nighttime, and we decided head to bed. Angela was still pissed at Nathan, and he was following her like a lost puppy. It was such a hilarious scene to watch. Both of us changed to our nightwear. I started to wear Xavier's hoodie and t-shirts. It's the only thing that seemed to fit now. Also, it calms the baby down. As we lay in the bed, I felt the baby kick. I turned to Xavier. He looked at me questioningly. "The baby just kicked," I said excitedly. I took his hand and placed it on top of my belly. Just then, the baby kicked again. Xavier's face contained so much happiness. "I am sure that the baby is going to love you so much," I said, kissing his jaw. He kissed my forehead as we lay down. "I am so lucky that you don't have mood swings like Angela," he said, sighing. I can hear the fear in his voice. I decided to play with him. "Oh, so you are saying that you wouldn't feel lucky if I have mood swings?" I said with a glare. He turned to me with a horrified face. I burst out laughing, looking at his face. "You should have seen your face," I said, burst out laughing again. He quickly sighed in relief. "Wait, so you're not having any mood swing?" "Nope, I was playing with you," I said, giggling. "You little tease," he said, capturing my lips. He started to kiss me as I kissed him back. His hands were started rubbing my tummy. I felt another kick. Xavier pulled away and looked at my belly. "Someone's protective over their mum," he said. I chuckled. "Well, she is mine first," he said, smirking, and I felt another kick. I smiled, looking at Xavier and my baby having their conversation. This was so good, too good. I love the both of them so much. I just cannot wait for my baby to come.
Amelia's POV. 1 month has passed by, and just one more month for the baby to come out. I can't wait for the baby. Xavier seemed to be more excited than me. He has designed and decorated the baby room. It was a gray theme. Since we didn't know the gender yet, we decided on having the same one as ours. Gray? "Can I have peanut butter with pickles, please?" I pouted, looking at Xavier. He scrunched his nose at my food taste, but nonetheless agreed on it. He paused the movie and went to the kitchen to take my food. I was feeling cramps and decided to stand and walk till the cramp goes away. As I stood up, I felt something wet dripping. That when I realized something. My water bag broke. "Xavier!" I screamed. Xavier came rushing in. He quickly looked around for any danger. "What happened?" he asked frantically. "My water bag broke," I said to him. He just stood there with wide eyes. "Xavier, snap out. We need to go to the hospital. Now," I hissed as I felt contractions. He quickly snapped out and went to take the bag and carried me and placed me in the car and quickly got in the car and speed off. The contractions were on and off, making it hard to breathe. "I don't understand. The baby is not supposed to be out till next month," he said, worried. I was feeling worried too. I don't want anything happening to the baby. Soon we reached the PAC infirmary. Without even bothering to park, Xavier got out and carried me inside. After placing me on the stretcher, he called for the doctor. "Call the doctor immediately. Now!" he yelled at the nurse. The nurse quickly scurried off and brought the doctor. The nurses rolled me into the ICU. Xavier's POV. I was pacing back and forth, waiting for the doctor to call me in. Soon the nurse called me, and I quickly entered the room. Amelia was groaning and screaming in pain. I quickly went to hold her hands. "It's okay, little one. Just breathe," I said, trying to comfort her. She started to breathe in as her breathing came to normal. "I need you to push hard for the baby to come out," the doctor said. Amelia nodded her head. She started to push as she held onto my hands tighten, but I can't be bothered about that now. "Come on, little one. You can do this." I encouraged. I gave her encouraged smile as she tried to smile but failed. She screamed again. "That's it, Luna Queen. Keep pushing." The doctor said. Amelia did as she was told. This went on for an hour. "One last push, Luna Queen," the doctor said. She took one last breath before giving one last push. That's when I heard it. The sound made me shiver. One of the most beautiful sound, the sound of our baby. I didn't know I was crying till I felt something wet in my cheeks. "You guys have been blessed with a beautiful boy." The doctor. A smile spread along my lips. "We have a boy." I felt Amelia squeeze my hand. I looked down at her, smiling. She was smiling even after all the pain she just went. I smiled back at her. "We have a baby boy, Xavier." she said, smiling. Yes, yes, little one, I said, smiling. I couldn't believe it. The doctor cleaned him up and wrapped him around a blanket, placed him at Amelia's hand. He smiled, looking us. It was the most beautiful smile I have ever seen. He looks exactly like you, Xavier, she said, smiling. And she was right. He had the exact same features as me, although he had the eye of his mum. Amelia placed him in my arms. I cooed as I looked at him. He grabbed my finger with his hands, holding it tight. My strong warrior, I said, kissing his forehead. We were having our family time when everyone entered. The moment everyone saw my boy, they froze. Isn't he the cutest? My mum gushed. Amelia's parents started to come forward and took him from my hands. He was passed around to everyone. My mum, Jason and Avery, Nathan and Angela, Noah and his mate. Finally, he was placed back into Amelia's arms. I looked down at my little family, feeling content. So have you guys decided on a name? Amelia's dad asked. We had thought about few names, but hadn't came up with one. Leonardo, Amelia said, making mine and my mum's eyes go wide. It's my dad name. If it's all right with the both of you, she asked, looking at me and Mum. My mum nodded her head, tearing up. She looked at me, waiting for my answer. I slowly nodded my head. Thank you, little one, I said as she grinned at me. She soon started to get tired. Sleep, little one, and when you wake up, both of us will be here, I said, looking at our baby. She nodded her head and drifted off to her sleep. I smiled at our little family. This was what I always wanted. I am so grateful for my little one. She gave me everything that I wanted and needed. My human mate. The end. Author. Hi, everyone. Thank you to everyone for the overwhelming response for his human mate. For all your love, I bring back his human mate too, his innocent mate. I hope that all of you would give the same love and continue to support me. I am sure y'all gonna love this book. Here we go with the story of the son of Xavier and Amelia, Leonardo Knight. I love y'all so freaking much. Zoya POV. Yet again another day with my dad that I had to go through. I was tired with all of these beatings. I am laying in the floor with very much little energy to get myself up. I crawled next to the table and put my weight on my right, the less injured one, and stood with great difficulty. I walk up to my room and straight went to take a hot shower, hoping the hotness of the water will wash away all of my scars in and out. As I let the water run down my body, I start to drift away. To the outside world, he is a perfect dad, but behind these walls, he is nothing but a monster. Since I was a werewolf, all the bruises will heal, and until they heal, I am not allowed to leave the house. My father won't let the people see the monster in him. I off the tap and wrapped the towel around me and stepped out. I went to my rusty and worn-out wardrobe and put on a t-shirt and shorts. I lay down in the small, dusty bed and tried to sleep everything off, hoping all this misery will end soon. Zoya, I heard a booming voice. I jolt awake hearing that. Oh no, my dad is here. I quickly stood up and ran down the staircase. He was standing glaring at me. Yes, Dad? I asked him with fear. Get ready. We are having guests. Better be at your best behavior, he said sternly. I just nodded my head with fear and went up to my room. My dad barely gets me clothes, but he got me few in order if we get guests, as he is a alpha. I got a light blue sequin dress and put it on. Most of the bruises from today morning were gone, but I put some concealer in the remaining in order to hide them. After I felt like I was presentable, I grabbed a pair of white flats and slipped them on. I had to look presentable or else I would yet get another beating. Zoya, I heard my dad calling me. The guests were here. I wonder who they are. Zoya! I heard my dad calling. I better not make my dad wait. I went down the stairs and saw a few men standing there as my dad stands there greeting them. I slowly made my way down. All of them turned to look at me. I wish the world will swallow me up now. I hated all this attention. And who might this stunning beauty be? A man with so much authority said. He looked to be in his 40s. I can feel that he is an alpha from the aura he gives off. He started to walk towards me with a sinister smile. That would be my daughter Zoya, my dad answered him. Without saying anything, he took my hand with his cold. I shivered from the coldness of his hands. He kissed the back of my hands. The moment his lips touched my hands, a sense of disgust ran through me. I quickly retreated my hands back. Zoya, this would be Alpha Nick. My dad introduced. I just shook my head. Please, let's have dinner. my dad said politely. We went to the dining area. The maids that my dad assigned for the day came in and started serving the food. I couldn't shake the feeling that something is going to happen and that I am not going to like it. The maids retreated once serving the food. My dad and Alpha Nick started talking about some pack stuff, and I started to zone off. I don't understand, what am I even doing in these dinner even? I am not needed here at all. I started to play with my food, not having any appetite to eat. I cannot wait for the day where I would meet my mate, the day I would escape from this hellhole. I wonder, where is my mate? How does he look like? Will he love me? Will he take care of me better than my dad? All of this question were running through my mind. So when do we plan to have the wedding? Alpha Nick asked my dad. What wedding? Whenever you want, Alpha Nick. I getting confused. Who is getting married? My pack and I really need a Luna as soon as possible. How about the coming week? Alpha Nick said. Yes, that would be great. I will get the wedding arrangement started soon. My dad replied. I really don't understand anything that's going on. I wanted to ask my dad who is getting married, but I know that my dad wouldn't like it if I talk in front of the guest. So I will wait till Alpha Nick if gone. They started talking about wedding preparation, which only agitated me. Not knowing something really gets me off, especially if they are talking about it in front of me. Soon the Alpha left. I waited till the last moment and decided to ask my dad. Sir, if you don't mind me asking, who is getting married? I asked, confused. You, Zoya's POV. You. The moment my dad said that, I felt like my whole world was collapsing. The walls were closing on me. I can't be getting married to Alpha King. He is not my mate. No, I can't be marrying Alpha Nick. He is not my mate, I cried out. Yes, you will be. His mate died due to some accident and he needs a Luna, so you will be marrying him. No, please, I cried. Yes, if you marry him, I will be getting so much of money. You will marry? You hear me, he shouted. I couldn't control my anger. No, I won't. I screamed back. This made him mad. Before I knew it, his hand came flying across my face. I fell to the floor with a thud. He started to kick me and punch me. He took out his belt and started swaying it at me. This time, I couldn't feel the pain. I was too angry to feel the pain. How can my dad sell me away like this? What did I ever did to deserve this? He just continued to hit me till he was tired. You are getting married to him in the next 3 days. No arguments. I am your father. You're Alpha. You think your mate would want you? He spat. Even if you meet your Alpha, he would use you and throw you away like the trash you are, he said with a smirk. He gave me one last blow and left from there. I was lying down in the floor with silent tears dripping. What he said is true. No one would ever want me. I was wanted or needed anyone. That's when I decided I had to get away from here. I need to get as far as possible from here. My mate is not going to come and save me. If I am lucky enough, maybe I would meet him one day. But if I stay here any longer, there would be no chance for that. I slowly carried myself up and tried my best to bring myself to my room. I packed whatever I need into a bag pack. I took the little cash that I had stashed without him knowing. I knew that he was not going to come any time now. I let myself heal in order to run from here. Lucky for me, my dad had terrible border control, so I knew which way I had to go in order to not be caught. After an hour, I went into kitchen and took a bottle of water and some snack bars, enough to last for a few days. I bolted out of there without waiting any second. I did not know where I was going, but I had to get out of here. I ran and ran till I reached the borderline. I knew once I crossed this border, there was no return, but I was ready to do this. Without thinking much, I crossed the border. I started to sprint again. I sprint till I was tired. I was worn out. It was getting dark, and I needed a place to rest for the night. It was a long walk from here to the city. I had to stay somewhere till tomorrow morning. Maybe after that I could get a motel. I found a big tree and decided for now it was best place for me rest with no choice left. Carefully I went inside the tree and hid myself inside it. The tree looked quite old. Not only that, but I felt some kind of connection to this tree. I shook it off and went to sleep. As I was sleeping, I suddenly heard rumbling of leaves. I panicked and quickly got up. My heart was palpitating, and I do not understand on what to do. I tried to smell, to see how many were out there, and I caught 5 different smell. Just then did I realize I accidentally got into a different pack territory. I did not understand what to do. I tried to minimize my movements. It is obvious that I got caught, but I had to try and escape. What if they bring me back to my father? I took a deep breath and decided to sprint. I don't think they were expecting my sudden move. I sprint as fast as I can. I am barely 5'0". I tried to push myself forward, but I was not fast enough. They caught up to me. They were in their wolves' form. I was unable to turn into wolf form due to some reason. One of them pounced me as I was having difficulty breathing. He snapped his teeth, asking me to submit, and he was winning. I was finding it hard to stay conscious, as I was finding it hard to breathe with his weight on me. As I was falling into the darkness, I heard a deep voice. The voice sent tingles to my body. I smelt the most mouth-watering smell. It was hard to describe, but I wanted to that scent all over me. As I look up, I saw the most oceanic blue eyes ever, but what he said made me finally go into conscious. Mate. Zoya's POV. I slowly flutter open my eyes. I was confused too as where I was. I was surrounded by white walls. I heard a beeping sound and turned to see a monitor. That's when I realized I was at an infirmary. I do not understand how I got here. That's when everything that happened yesterday came to my mind. I ran away from my dad to escape the wedding. I ran into a different pack territory, and I saw a man I couldn't believe. My mate. I tried to get up. With great effort, I stood up. I tried to find my balance and start to find my way out. I was dressed in a white gown. There didn't seem to be anyone here. I went out of the infirmary and tried to find someone. I walked along the corridor. There didn't seem to be anyone. The corridor seemed to get darker and darker. You shouldn't be walking around. This startled me. I quickly tried to find who was that. I saw a form emerging from the darkness. It was him. "What are you doing walking around?" he asked in a monotone. I just stared at him without believing this moment. My mate is standing right in front of me, and I did not know what to do. "I asked you a question," he asked in a more anger tone. Startled, I shook my head. "Use your voice," he demanded. I was lost and didn't know where to go. "I'm sorry," I said with a small voice. He seemed to be studying me for a while as he turned and started to walk. I decided to follow him, not knowing where else to go. His legs were so long, I was finding it hard to match his speed. Suddenly he came to a halt, which I was not expecting. I banged into him due to the sudden stop. He turned around and looked at me. He was so tall compared to me. I looked like a small squirrel when compared to him. He opened a door as he let me in. I looked around and the room looked damn big. It was literally the size of my home back in my pack. It was an office room for sure, especially with the desk and roller chair. I didn't know what I was doing here. I was looking at the room with awe. It looked magnificent. I heard someone clear their throat, and that is when I realized I had company. He was still standing there and staring at me. I bowed my head in embarrassment. I totally forgot he was still here. "What is your name?" he asked in a monotone. "Zoya," I stuttered. He just nodded his head. "What were you doing there?" He asked me again with the same monotone. I was trying to find shelter. I didn't mean to intrude. I am so sorry," I quickly said before he thinks I came for an ambush. "You are Rogue, right?" he asked me all of a sudden. I didn't know what to say. Technically, I am a rogue, considering I don't want to be part of my father's pack. Yes, I am," I stuttered again. "God, please help me with my stuttering." He gave a deceptive look. I gulped at that. "You know we don't tolerate rogues." I timidly nodded my head. "Do you know who am I?" he asked, getting closer towards. I started to take a step back. "I am the king of the Alpha King Leonardo," he said with such authority. I looked at him bewildered. This can't be happening. I am mated to the Alpha King. "Tell me, why didn't you change form just now?" he asked me deceptively. I can't tell him the truth. No, I promised myself I will never tell anyone the truth. I can't change. I lied. I had to. I didn't have a choice. "What do you mean by you can't change?" he emphasized. I started to sweat profusely. "I am unable to change form, since birth." I know I shouldn't be lying, but I cannot tell him. Even my father didn't know about it. "How can you be my mate?" he asked with disgust. Tears start to form in eyes. "I mean, look at you. You are a rogue, and worst, you can't even transform," he yelled. "This has to be a mistake." That was it. I broke down. My own mate hates me. What could be worse? He quickly stormed out of there. I just went on my knees and started to sob. What else could I do? He can't reject me. That's when I thought, if I wasn't here, he can't reject me. Zoya's POV. I got up from my knees and decided that I had to get away from here. I have honestly no idea how to get out from here. I grab a coat that was hanging there, considering how chilly it was outside. It smelt just like him. But I had no other choice. I tried to find my way out. It was really difficult. The corridors were dark and everything looked the same. How am I going to get out here? Just then I banged into someone and fell on my butt. When I looked up, a woman who seemed to be in her late 30s looking at me worried. "Oh, I am so sorry, dear. Here, let me help you," she said as she gave me her hand. I hold her and got up. "Are you okay, my dear?" she asked with concern. When I look at her, I feel safe and a secure feeling that I can't seem to shake. She seemed to spread warmth around her. "I am okay. Thank you so much." "Thank God. Do you need any help? And what's your name, dear?" She asked me politely. "My name is Zoya, and I am kinda lost and I need to get out from here," I said while blushing with embarrassment. She giggled. "My name is Amelia. Please follow me," she said, guiding me. She was talking and laughing with me while bringing me. I seemed to be home with her. She's so fun and loving and caring. "There we go. I am not sure where you want to go from here, but if you follow the path, you can find a village," she said with a smile. I nodded my head. I don't know why, but I gave her a hug. With everything happening, I needed one. "Thank you for your help, Amelia," I said with a smile. "No worries. Go safe, dear," she said with a smile. I bid her goodbye and started to walk. I have no idea where am I going. I had to get out of here. I walked to the village that Amelia has mentioned. It was a small village. I did not know what to do, but still I decided it's better than nothing. I found an abandoned hut and decided to stay there for the time being. I broke down before I could close the door and started to cry. My own mate hated me. My dad had hated me since the beginning. He always accused me for the death of my mum, and now even my own mate didn't want me. I cried for a few more minutes before I wiped my tears. I can't crumble now. I have to be strong. I need to be strong. I was too tired for anything right now. I decided to take some rest before deciding on what to do. I just let myself to fall for the darkness as I slowly gave myself to the sleep. I wake up with the sound of the thunder. It was raining cats and dog outside. I was always afraid of the thunder and lightning. They seemed to be scary. I cradled myself and tried to calm myself. I heard a knock and thought, who would be knocking the door at this time of the night? It should at least 4 a.m. right now. With hesitation, I went to open the door. Before I could react, a clothes was put over my head. I was finding it difficult to breathe. Whoever was holding on to me was very strong. I was trying my level best to free myself, but nothing seemed to be helping. "It would be easier for all of us if you give in. We are not here to harm you," a voice said. But I wouldn't want to give up. I am not going to give that easily. I continued to struggle, but they were making it hard for me. Soon I gave in to the darkness. It was no use. I was weak and tired. I didn't know who they were, but I was going to find. Something in me told I'm not going to like it. But I woke up with a heavy headache. I felt like my head was so heavy. I didn't understand what was going on. I looked around me and I was astonished. I was lying down in a bed that felt like clouds. The room was literally the size of the house that I used to be in. The whole room was in black. I did not understand what was going on. That is when everything came rushing down. I was kidnapped. I did not understand who or for what. I am literally a rogue now. I don't have anything. And why would someone kidnap me and put me in such a lavish place? What is the purpose of that? All of this was giving me more and more headache. As I was still dazing around, the doors of the room opened suddenly, making me fright. Who I saw made me dumbfounded. It was Amelia. I couldn't believe it. She kidnapped me? Why would she? Wait, does that mean I'm back in the palace? All of this question were just making my headache more worse. "Oh, you are awake, me. That's great," she said with a smile. I was still looking at with shock. I did not understand what was going on. I know she was talking, but I just couldn't register what she was saying. "You kidnapped me?" I asked her unbelievingly. "Kidnap you? I simply asked them to escort you back. They kidnapped you?" she asked unbelievingly. I couldn't understand. "Why would you want me back when you showed me the way out?" I asked it, shocked. Because you the future Luna Queen, she simply said, taking a sit in front of me. What? I don't know what you are talking about? I asked, acting as if I didn't know when I did. I know that you know. You are mated to my son, she said, making me appalled. She is the Luna Queen? Oh my God, I am so sorry I didn't know, I said, trying to get up. No, don't. You should be resting, she said with a warm smile. She is the Luna Queen, yet her presence makes me feel warm and safe. I do not know why did Leo behave the way he did, but I do apologize for his behavior. No, please don't, I understand, I said with a solemn tone. I know he hates the fact that I am a rogue, and I understand he is the King Alpha. No matter who you are still his mate. That is no such way to behave, she said with a strict voice. Suddenly the doors opened, startling me. It was him, Zoya's POV. It was him. The moment I saw him, my heartbeat went palpitating. I did not understand why. His aura was intimidating. His face was stoic. It's like he was made out of metal. I couldn't keep my eyes off him. He was too alluring. My wolf was wagging its tail happily, knowing our mate was standing right in front of us. But I knew he did not want me. And I was all right with that. I was perfectly fine with it. And I understand too. If he came to know about the secret that I have been hiding from everyone, he could easily ruin me. It is best that I kept it a secret. Amelia cleared her throat, gaining both our attention. So I will leave you guys to it, she said as she started walking away. I didn't want to be left alone with him. As she closed those doors, the silence began. I had no idea what to say. Neither did he. He just stared at me, analyzing me. Why did you ran off? He asked, breaking the silence. I took in a deep breath before answering him. Why should I be here? I asked him questionably. I mean, clearly he didn't want me. I wasn't wanted here. What reason did I have to stay? I definitely did not want him to reject me. I could not take that. He just stood there with silence. Well, I guess the moon goddess made a mistake by pairing you with me. I mean, come on, you are rogue for goddess' sake. He all but exclaimed. I understood. I was a rogue. Who in their right mind would want me? I sighed, knowing he was right. I do not want you, he said harshly. But you are needed here. I just wish I could reject you, he yet again exclaimed, hearing that crack my heart. But I can't. The kingdom needs a queen, even if the queen turns out to be as pathetic as you. He rolled his eyes. Hear me once and hear me well. I will never ever love you in my life. You are just my mate to the outside world. To me, you are nothing but a pathetic rogue. Understand, he all but yelled. Those words broke my heart. He strode out of the room as he banged the door behind him. I fall to my knees as tears starts to stream out. I always dreamed about my mate, about how caring and loving he would be. But now that he is here, he is nothing of what I expected in my mate. He is harsh, insensitive, uncaring, and unloving. I hate myself for being mated to him. But at the same, I have fallen in love with him, the moment I looked into his eyes. I am not sure whether it is the mate bond or the way my wolf yearned for him, but I have fallen in love with him, which is a terrible idea. What have I gotten myself into? I thought to myself. It would be dangerous for me to stay here, but at the same time, staying here would protect me. I decided to stay here. At least I got myself a plan. I had to make sure no one finds out about the secret that I have been trying to hide for all these years, or I am doomed. I really needed a shower. I went to the washroom and decided to take a shower. I put on a random jumper and came out. It was starting to get bored, and I decided to explore. I know it's a bad move, but I still did it. I opened the doors and left to explore. I turned random corners, not exactly knowing where I was going. After what felt like forever, I came across a room where it looked like a library. I love reading. This is literally the perfect place for me. It had tons of books to read. I went to each column as my fingers slightly glazed over the books. I was awed by the books that I saw. It was amazing. Hi. I jumped at the voice. I panically looked around. I took a swift turn behind and saw a man who seemed to be in his 50s standing right behind me. I was still trying to get my heartbeat at a steady beat. The man seemed so familiar, like I have seen him before, but I could not put my fingers on it. I looked at him as though a deer being caught. He had a slight humor smile in his face. Hi, I am Xavier. Who might you be? He asked politely. I opened and closed my mouth like a fish. Hi, sorry. I am Zoya, I said, stuttering. As he hears my name, his face was filled with realization. Zoya, I see. That is a very beautiful name for a beautiful woman like you, he said, making me blush. Thank you, I said with my head down, trying to cover my blush. So you like books? He asked, taking a sit at the sofa. He pointed at the sofa opposite him, indicating me to take a sit. Yes, sir, I said as I took a sit. Oh, please, do call me Xavier, he said with a smile. I nodded my head. There was this aura coming from him, an aura of authority, power, and dominance. But his company felt safe. We talked about many books. He told me more about his favorite books while I told mine. We had quite the familiar taste. Oh wow, Zoya, I didn't know you had very much interest in books. I started having interest in books thanks to my wife Amelia. I don't know why, but something just clicked in me. It is then when I realize what it is. He is Amelia, husband. Amelia is the Luna Queen, which means he is the King Alpha. Zoya, POV. Ever wish the ground would just split and you would get buried? That is how I am feeling now. I just wish the ground would gobble me up. I am embarrassed and scared to death right now. The King Alpha is standing right in front of me. What have I done, Moon Goddess? He is going to think of me as a weirdo. Or worst, he thinks of me an intruder as I intrude into his library. What have I done? Great work, Zoya. I think he sensed the sudden tension in me. As I thought he was going to reprimand me or ask his guards to throw me into the cells, he starts laughing. I looked at him bewildered, not knowing why he was laughing. As I stay rooted to the ground, he regains from his laughter. The look in your face was just hilarious, he said as he continued to laugh. Not knowing what to do, I just start to apologize. I am so sorry, my king. I did not know I was intruding. As I apologized, he looked at me as if he was analyzing me. I know he was. You are different, he said, making me stiff. What did he meant by that? What do you mean, Alpha King? I asked with fear running down my spine. He just gave a slight laugh and started walking off. As he opened the door, he looked back at me. You comin'? He asked as he winked at me. I quickly strode off behind him. I followed him like a lost puppy, not having any clue of where I am heading to. We took a few turns before I bumped into the Alpha King, not realizing he had stopped. Sorry, I muttered under my breath. He opened a door and signaled me to head inside. With hesitation, I went inside. The room was dark and quiet. It was hard to see where I was. Suddenly the light turned on and my eyes blurred due to the sudden brightness. As my eyes get used to the brightness, I realized I was in an office room. Wait here, I will be back, he said as he left, closing the door. I stood there in shock, not knowing what to do. He just left me hanging and left. Not knowing what to do, I start to explore the room. It was an office room, the fingers smoothly glazed across the glass table. If I was right, it's definitely Italian-made. There were not even single dust, it was sparkling clean. My eyes shifted to the shelf that was behind the desk. An idea popped into my brain. What if there was a secret passage behind the shelf, like those in James Bond movie? I quickly pulled one by one book to see if will open. To my disappointment, it did not open. Tired, I sat down the rolling chair. Considering to my boredoms, I started twirling around the chair. I didn't realize that the door opened and two men walked in. The moment I saw them, I stopped my silliness and looked at them, like a deer being caught by a tiger. It was the King Alpha and my mate. Great, noted the sarcasm. King Alpha was looking at me with amusement, whereas Leonardo was looking at me with a irritated look. What crawled up his ass? Look like someone is getting comfortable, Alpha King said with a laugh. I just shook my shoulder, not knowing what to say. I stood up from the rocking chair and went behind the desk. The King Alpha sat in the seat while Leonardo and I stood there. So, Leo, you have found your mate, he said while staring at me. Leonardo just rolled his eyes as he strolled and took a seat in front of his seat. What's the matter, Leo? His dad asked with concern. Even I did not know his issues with me. It's like he hated me even before we met. He just scoffed as he stared at me. Tell me, Leo, his dad asked him sternly. Even I had the urge to submit. Leo looked away from me as he sighed. She is rogue. Worst, she is unable to shift, he said as he stared holes into the table. He was mad, all right. His dad just stared at him for a while before a small smile crept up his lips. Ah, I guess history is repeating then, he said with amusement. Both of us looked at him questionably. I had no idea what he meant. Well, son, we have the future queen in our hands, he said as he stood up from his chair. Queen? She is unfit to be my mate, let alone queen, he exclaimed. His voice boomed the entire room. To say I was hurt would be an understatement. I did not expect him to love me, but that hatred crushed all my hopes. I thought I could eventually trust him and tell him the truth. Guess not. I sighed. If you do not want me here, I will be gone. As I said, both of them looked at me. I thought I saw hurt in his eyes, but no, it was my eyes playing tricks with me. The gates are open for you, he said with hatred seething through his voice. There was this lump in the back of throat. I wanted yell, cry. But I controlled. I knew better than that. No, you shall not. Whether you want or not, you are the future queen. Word would spread fast, and the moments people comes to know, there will be price over your head. Either way, there is going to be, I mumbled. What? The both asked. I shake my head, stating nothing. They eyed me suspiciously as I looked away. Look, son, whether you like her or not, she is your mate and your queen. You have to accept that. The Luna goddess paired you guys up for a reason, he said. Well, I almost fell for that speech till I saw Leonardo face. He was fuming. For what mystical reason would Moon Goddess pair me up with him? With all people? She will never be mate? Ever! He boomed as he strode past me and out the door, banking everything on his way. I sighed. I hate myself. I am so sorry about him, my dear, the King Alpha said. Don't be King Xavier. I understand his anger, I said as I looked down. I understand that he is disappointed for having me as a mate. Anyone would be. But I wished I could tell them the truth. But I can't. I should not trust anyone. No one. Zoya's POV. After the whole drama, King Xavier escorted me to a room that was far away from Leonardo, on my request. Right now, the last thing I need is to be anywhere near him. Also, I need to find a way to escape from here. I know I can be safe here, but staying here could cost losing my life along with others. I wished my life normal. I wished I did not have a secret to carry around. I wished I had a mate who loved me. Leonardo. The thought about him made my wolf go insane, but the thought of him made my stomach churn. He hated me. Just that thought was making my wolf to curl into a ball. All I need was to trust him. But how am I supposed to trust him when he hates me? How do I tell him who I am? All these questions gave me a massive headache, and I decided to rest it off. I dozed off as I lay in the soft and comfortable mattress. Next morning. The next morning, I woke with the sunlight beaming through the window. I flutter my eyes open and slowly get up, try to register where I am at. Then I realize that I am at the palace. Today my agenda was trying to find an escape route out of here. I need to study everything and plan perfectly and make sure I do not get caught again. I quickly took a shower and threw on a romper that I found. I guess Amelia should have left it there. I wore a pair of sneakers that I found and left for my quest to find my escape. I woke down the corridor as I studied everything. However, my stomach had other plans. It made the loudest noise possible, and I was grateful to be not surrounded people. I try to smell my way to the kitchen. I need lots of energy if I were to escape from here. After multiple turns and staircase, I found the kitchen. I was never more happier to see food. The kitchen was surrounded by food. I quickly grabbed a plate and put waffles, pancakes, and fruit, and took a sit at the counter and start to gobble down my food. Oh my goddess, I heard someone exclaimed. I looked up and saw Amelia. I did not know what to do. My mouth was stuffed with food and hand had a plate full of foods. I was embarrassed beyond anything. She just looked at me with amusement. Well, you look small, you sure can eat a lot, she said, laughing. I smiled at her cheekily and started to gobble down my food. As I ate, I saw a half-naked Leonardo walking down the stairs. The sight made my wolf go bonkers. He sure is well-built. But what I could not believe was, right behind him was a woman with messy hair and crumpled and torn dress coming down. I gulped the tears that shamelessly wanted come. I did not know what to do. I knew he hated me. But I never expected this. Not in a million years. I was speechless. I guess I shouldn't have expected anything more from him. It wasn't I who was hurt, it was my wolf. She was more than hurt. She was heartbroken. I tried to control myself. If he didn't want me, so be it. I did not need him anyway. My whole plan was escaping from here. I could care less about who he whores around with. Amelia was watching all of this. She was as speechless as me. She couldn't believe her son would do this. I could see the anger in her eyes. Leonardo took a sit in the dining table as the girl came behind, whispered and gave him a kiss. I couldn't watch it. I decided to gobble down my food instead. I heard her heel click her off, stating she was leaving. Amelia stomped off Leonardo with anger, fuming. "Oh, this is going to be good." "Leonardo Xavier Knight, what do you think you are doing?" she yelled. Her voice made me shrink in fear. Her face was fuming, was anger. "What do you mean, Mum?" he asked with confusion. How can he be so ignorant? "You know what I mean, Xavier," Amelia yelled as she pointed to the direction where the woman left. "It was nothing, Mum," he said as he rolled his eyes. "Nothing? What do you mean by nothing, Xavier?" she asked in disbelief. "You brought a woman over, even after knowing you have found your mate? Doing this before you found your mate was bad enough, but having woman over even after that is absurd. He had other women too? That hurt a lot. I cannot believe he would do something like that. Regardless of who is his mate? What if the she was a normal she-wolf? I am hating him more by the second." "What were you thinking, Xavier?" she exclaimed. He groaned as he stood up. That's when our eyes met. I tried to cover the hurt as much as I can. The last thing I want him to know is that I am hurt because of him. It would boost up his ego. I pretended to gobble up my food and not be hurt because of his action. I know that he is staring at me. I can feel it. He stared at me for some time as he starts to walk away. I heard Amelia sigh as she walked towards me. I know what she was going to say. She opened her like a goldfish, not knowing how to say it. "It's all right, Amelia, I understand," I said as I smiled at her softly. "Forgive him, my dear. I don't understand what has gotten into him." I smiled at her softly as I got down and washed the plate. I need fresh air. I got away from there to the backyard. To say the backyard was beautiful will be an understatement. It was astounding. There were flowers everywhere. I have not seen anything like this before. The smell of the flowers calmed me down immediately. I stood there taking in the beauty for a while before I started to walk around. I caressed the flower with my hands. They were so soft. As I was gazing, I did not realize someone was standing behind me. The person cleared the throat, making me frightened. I looked back to see a man. He was well-built and had a smile on his face. His aura was so calming. I had this friendly vibe from him. "Hi, sorry, did mean to alarm you." He apologized. He dismissed it off. "What might be a beautiful girl like you be doing here?" he asked. I blushed. It's not every day someone calls you beautiful, especially a gentleman like him. "I came to get some fresh air," I said, squeaking. I felt like a small girl. "Ah, I see. Who might you be?" he asked me questionably. I pounded over the thought of introducing. There is no harm in a name, I guess. "I am Zoya. I am new here. Who might you be?" I questioned him. "Well, my name is Elijah." He introduced. We started talking as he walked around. He was the head of commander. I was amazed when he told that. I started to get details that would help me get away from here. Tonight will be my last night here. Zoya's POV. I was packing some clothes and food for the run. I don't know where am I going, but anywhere from here would be good enough. I put on a black tights and black hoodie to blend in the dark. I checked the time one last time. Just nice, everyone would have slept by now. I peeked out the door and tried to hear for any sounds. I listened very careful. None. I tiptoed out the door and closed the door behind me. I crept my way down the staircase, make sure to make no noise. Anyone could be awake and may hear my footsteps. And I am dead. I know that this is very foolish of me. They are the royals. There is nowhere that I could hide in this world where they couldn't find me. But if I stayed with them, everyone's life is going to be endangered. I couldn't let that happen. Not again. I will keep running as long as I can, until I have fulfilled my destiny. I walked out the back door and start to remember the way out. I knew that there were guards stationed there from what Elijah stated. I tried my best not to panic as it would bring me nowhere. I threw my bag the other side of the wall, climbed up the wall, and jumped the other side. The moment I landed, I grabbed my bag and sprinted. I ran as fast my legs can. My wolf was whining, knowing we are getting away from our mate. But she knew the danger that lacked. I ran till I was out of breath. When I thought I was far away from the palace, I stopped to catch my breath. I was in the middle of nowhere. I did not know where to go or what to do. The best place now in my mind was the city, The wolf do not easily enter there. As I was about to stand up, I heard leaves ruffling sounds. I caught my breathing, afraid of who might that be. The last I want now is a rogue. I quickly try to hide behind the tree. It was a large tree that could easily hide 10 people. I tried to even my breathing as I listened to the sound. The sound started to get louder, which means it's nearer. I did not know what to do. I tried to concentrate on the sound as best as I could. The sounds of the leaves came to a halt. It became quiet. Too quiet. I could hear the sounds of the crickets. I tried to peek out and see who was it, but there was no one standing. But how? I just heard the sound. Could it be my mind playing tricks with me? As I turned my head, my heart dropped. My eyes bulged as I saw what was in front of me. It was a wolf, a large black wolf. The moment the scent of the wolf hit my nose, I knew who it was. Leonardo. I did not know what to think or do. My head was not in the right place. He was staring at me as if I was the biggest puzzle in the world. He used its nozzle to open my bag and peek through it. The moment he saw my clothes, I could feel the anger purging through. I slowly and carefully backed away from him. I did not know what I was thinking, but my legs started to run the opposite side from him. I ran as fast as I could. I could feel him gaining on me. I tried to run faster, but I did not see the rock in front of me as I tripped and fell. As I turned around, he had me pinned down as he pounced on me. I could feel him heavily panting as his breath tickled my shoulder. I dare not look at his eyes as I was afraid of what I might see. His entire body was shaking in anger. I could feel the anger radiating from his body. I closed my eyes as tight as I can, knowing he was furious at me. He used his nozzle to lift up my face. I was afraid to open my eyes. He licked my eyes, wanting me to open my eyes. I slowly and carefully opened my eyes. As I flutter opened my eyes, I was engulfed by shock. Leonardo's wolf eyes was filled with sadness and despair. The moment my wolf saw, she wailed inside of me in sadness and hurt. She was heartbroken to see her mate in sadness. I was sad to see him like that. It made me almost tear up. But I realized it wasn't Leonardo who was sad. It was his wolf. He couldn't care less if I was dead or alive. In fact, he would be happy if was dead. That thought made my heart sink. Having to have my own mate hate me was like a curse. Knowing that he could never love me was a pinch to the heart. I pushed him off and tried to run, but he had pinned me again. I gave up trying to struggle my way out. Soon, Leonardo changed his form and shifted to human form. On top me was a very naked Leonardo, staring at me. Well, this was awkward. I tried to push him off, but it was as if he was made of bricks. He didn't move an inch. I gave up and huffed in annoyance. "Can you get off of me?" I told him in irritation. Coming back from whatever daze he was in, he got off of me. I immediately got away from him. He just stared at me as if I was an alien, whereas I was not sure how to look at him when he was standing there in all his glory. You might want to get some clothes?" I said as I tried to choose my words wisely. Immediately he rushed to get some clothes on. Within seconds, he came back with shorts. I couldn't help but stare at him. He was godly and simply hot. It was rude of me to stare, but could you blame me? "What are you doing here?" His scream brought me back from my gaze. Oh no, here we go. I was dreading this part. How foolish of me to get caught. "I am asking you again, what were you doing here?" He screamed yet again. I did not respond. I did not know what to respond. I was trying to get some air. I stuttered. I did not know what else to say. "You are lying," he stated without even hesitating. "And how would you know that?" I asked boldly. There is no way he could know. "Your heartbeat skipped," he said monotonously. How stupid of me to not think of that. Of course he heard my heartbeat. What am I to tell? I have no idea on what to say. There is nothing much for me to say either. "Stop lying to me and tell me the truth now." "Now," he yelled. I tried to muster up the courage and tell him the truth. I was trying to get away from here. I said the truth. It was better that I told the truth. "What do you mean? Why?" he asked me. I tried to get my heartbeat in control in order to lie. "I do not want to be here," I told him calmly. "Why?" he asked with a questionable look. "I do not want to be with you." I gritted my teeth while lying. He looks taken back when I said this. His reaction makes nervous as I wonder what is going on in his head.